Hello, and welcome to the Prosperity Artist Podcast. And welcome to 2026. It is amazing to be here in this year with you, celebrating all that is you. And for this first episode, I am delighted to bring on a very, very special guest and someone who had major impact in my life in 2025. She came in unexpectedly. And we have been on an adventure together. And so it's my honor to introduce her. But first, I want to talk about 2026 and things that are coming to prosperity artists, and especially for those who are joining us on the listening version, the audio version of the pod. Be sure to swing by and check out chibala.com. This year, we are kicking off with several very special events with opportunities to choose rebirth in really big ways, some of which we'll talk about later in today's episode. And also Woofulness, my product line, is launching this year with rocks, so crystals, rituals, candles, and remedies. Those are going to be super fun. Different things coming up. I will say there are things that we can use for emotional release coming in multiple forms. So that's all I'll say for now. But Woofulness kicks off on January 19th. And I look forward to serving y'all in new and exciting ways in 2026. And so with that, we are going to invite on Jahjehan Ives. Hi, Jaji.
Hi, Shivala.
And I'm so excited to have you here as my first guest for this year.
I'm so honored to be your first guest.
First guest for 2026 and first guest in the new cycle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? So we're here to talk about you and to go deep and to get intimate and they get transparent and to talk trust, which I really believe is one of the most important things that we can bring into this new cycle.
Yes.
You know, especially with the moment we're in, where so much is shifting around us. We've got AI, we've got
every day we wake up to something different. I feel
right now we got a whole little war popping up somewhere. It's just we have a lot of political news, and we have what feels like more and more people truly stepping into their truth.
Yes.
Right. And so trust to me is at the core of that. And that's the discussion that we're going to be talking about today, how you have learned to trust as you've moved through your journey. But first, I wanted to anchor us, since we're both lovers of the astrology, the human design. I wanted to anchor us in this moment. And so it is a Cancer full moon.
Yeah. Can you feel it a little?
She's joking with y'all because she knows, Cancer full moon. We both are Cancer moons. Mm-hmm. We're both Gemini suns.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Every Cancer moon for me is intense.
Yeah.
Is that your experience of them?
My experience of Cancer moon is that the things that I am wanting to avoid come up. And they flow to the surface in a way that it's that thing that you've been avoiding. Here it is. You get to deal with it.
And this will bring up my first human design comment. So the beautiful thing for you is you have emotional definition, right?
Yes.
My emotional center is completely it's open. So it's undefined. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with human design, what we're talking about is a birth charting system that we both work in. You can receive readings and support from both of us in different ways. And I'm going to throw up on the screen a little QR code, but shibala.com/free human design chart. You can check out your human design. You can book a gift reading with me as well. And you can hit up Jaji. But when you look at the system, one of the things it says about me that I am not consistently connected to my emotions, and that at times I may avoid, right? And so, like,
Mm-hmm.
it's, avoiding the truth and confrontation is like the OG, like, terminology. And I've spent so much of my life since I understood that, figuring out how not to do that. And yet, um, there's still versions of me still doing that. Like more these days, like I'll take a note of the thing and be like, okay, I'm avoiding that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But when Cancer full moon creeps up,
It's like
like,
there's
yeah,
no avoiding.
like
When the full
I'll,
moon is shining its full light on all the
yeah,
stuff that you've been hiding under, and you come out with your little Cancer claws,
like
like
she's like,
get away from me.
I'm just avoiding that.
Yeah.
There's more. And
There's
then she's like,
more. Let's just
there's
crack open your
more.
shell and get to the soft stuff inside, and that's the Cancer
And
moon.
she's like, and by the way, this thing that you thought you were avoiding, it's related to this thing and 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 this thing too. Do you see it? Do you see it? That's how it feels for
Yeah.
me.
Well, and I always say, like, you have to feel it to heal it. So it has to come out. It's a gift that it comes out, but it is so uncomfortable. And so, as we've been discovering, it just takes you on a route that you're like, I did not schedule this into my day.
Well, what I just thought was so funny, and the revelation I had is it's no longer uncomfortable for me. This is my first time ever
Mm,
of it not being uncomfortable, but it's different. It's not, so how do I say this? Perhaps it's uncomfortable, but I am comfortable with the discomfort.
yes.
And so
Yes.
what it feels like is because there is an initial moment of like, ugh, like I feel that. But this time with this moon, so this moon being Cancer and then Capricorn, we
Mm-hmm.
have all that energy to go and like get things done. And this time it literally feels like being on a treadmill,
Yes.
running, like sprinting towards, and perhaps not a treadmill, but on a course of some sort. But it feels like a treadmill because like the treadmill is set to high.
Mm-hmm.
The speed is moving. And I am running because I'm like, I'm fucking running this race. Like, there is a version where I could, like, I know I can, like, jump on the sides and, like, pause, but I'm like, nah, bitches, I'm going. Like, I'm taking it. And then Cancer full moon is like, here's a hurdle. And I'm like, I'm a hurdler. And I jump. And it goes again. And I jump. And I jump. And
Mm-hmm.
it's, I'm laughing at this because I literally used to run 400-meter hurdles. And I'm like, this is like, I'm like, I know it. And there, I stopped running hurdles because I actually like once landed and like threw out my hip. This is really embarrassing.
Mm.
But this time I'm like, nope. I'm like, we're going,
You've been
we're going,
training for
I'm
this.
going, and I'm
It's
going,
like
I'm
your
going.
body knows how to respond because you've been training for it. And so that's the beauty of being in the work for so long. You're like, "Oh, I see you. I see you illuminating this stuff. Let's do this."
And we definitely have some viewers live. So I love this. And if y'all have any questions as we move through, any comments, feel free to like pop it into the chat. We can see them and we will engage. But man, yeah, so that's like Cancer Capricorn. For me, it really has been pulling up anything that has been, and you know this, holding me back
Mm-hmm.
from making the moves that I'm here to make in my career that are aligned, and from taking the risk. We'll get into like 38 next, right? So transit, human design transit, we're in gate 38. I used to just shortcut that, call it gate of the fighter.
I call
And
it the gate of the visionary.
I
It's
like
like about
creative.
rooting into the vision that you're willing to fight for.
Yes, and I love, it just happened to be taught to me the first time,
Yes.
like Gate of the Fighter, and what was fun is I actually read your blog post. Um, I'm like, "I read your blog post this week." And and I love the visionary, perspective of it, and I feel like once we talked about it, you were like, "It's like Martin Luther King energy." I'm pretty sure you said
Exactly.
that. And I was like, "Yes," especially because this month we got MLK Day coming through. I think
Mm-hmm.
am I messing up my holidays?
I don't know if it's this month or I think it's this month. I can't keep track.
Holidays. We
But
don't believe
let's
in
just
time.
say
It's
we
on
all
the new
know
moon.
they're
It's
on the new
on
moon.
yo. This is
Okay.
even this getting creepy in the best way. Okay, creepy
Mm.
cool. I just said it's giving Martin Luther King energy. I announced earlier my launch day, which is something that I have been visioning and frankly fighting for. And obviously, we don't want to. I personally don't want to encourage fighting energy because I don't think we need to fight. But I have been going through the fight and the struggle. So half
That's
of
it. On
the
the
channel
other
of
end of it. Yeah.
struggle is Gate 28, and it makes it a channel of struggle. So I have felt the fight.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways, I needed to move through the fight to realize that I didn't have to fight
Yeah.
and that I could let it emerge and that the vision was there and it was coming and trying to force it into a specific way, a specific timeline, or even have it match my initial vision when things were shifting all around me was something that I could release, right? So like I'm literally though releasing it and launching it on Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Amazing. I
Also
love that.
new moon, which is also on January 19th. And also, my whole thing is about us getting connected energetically. And what you may not know is the point of that is to transcend all these other funky little barriers we've created, race being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, mind blown,
Mind blown, and yet no shocking surprise there.
not shocking.
Because the thing that I love, what came to me is like gate 38, the visionary, the fighter, is in the root. And you have been following your sacral, but also following those pulses, because the root is a center that when it's defined, it pulses on and off. It tells us what the timing is and what the timing isn't. And this visionary that you are, this visionary that's willing to fight through all of the challenges, because I know gate 28 is also the game player. It's like life is a challenge, life is a struggle, life is what you make it. And when we get up into those challenges, it's because we're willing to fight through for the things that we're really passionate about.
Yes,
And
and
like that's been your life. Like
fight through and take the risks, right? So like what's so
exactly.
fascinating, like because now I'm translating fighting through,
Mhm.
especially since I'm no longer fighting. It's
Mhm.
good for me. So it's no longer struggling. It's no more fighting. It's accepting the risk.
Mhm.
And it's accepting that when I leap and take that risk, the result or the outcome may be unclear. And what's fun is, not to get into the weeds, but just a little bit, because you two amazing human design goddesses on a podcast, not this little. Come on, like you're
We're
gonna
going
do
to
a
get
little,
into the weeds a
you're gonna
little,
do
but you're going to
a
come
little.
with us. It's going to be relevant.
For that 28, my specific placements. Um, let's look at them. Let's look at them for a second. I have your chart up, but I'm a
I'm
throw.
going to get your chart on mine. I'm
I'm
like,
gonna
let's
just
look at
look.
them.
My specific 28 placements are 28.3 and 28.1. This is a major placement for me. It's my Pluto. So it's like, it's there, it's deep. And when I was working with Chayton, like one of the things we were working on is like me just taking these risks. And like, he's like, if you can unlock 28,
Mm.
like you're golden. And so that was so much of my work. But my 28.3 is called adventurism,
Mhm.
right? And it's really going on the adventure. But it's understanding when the adventure is like you're on it and it makes sense, and when you're trying to make it make sense and therefore taking a like risks that don't make sense. And so
Yes.
it's really funny because I'll be like, I've done that before when I'm in it, and at some point in time, it's time to stop.
Mm-hmm.
At some point in time, I'm unclear of the path, but instead of waiting for the path to emerge, I would literally be like, fuck it. Let's just do it anyway. Like, I'm here already. Like, now that I'm here, let me pause
Mm-hmm.
and see what's coming through. And then what's interesting though, the other side of it is 1-3 for me. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
investigating this version of taking risk, and then I'm in the risk and learning from trial and error. And at the highest level, my other version of it is um, understanding the detail that comes with taking risk. Isn't that?
Mm-hmm.
It's preparation. So this mix of adventurism and preparation while you're playing the game. And I've really come to find that the game that you're playing is the game of life.
Yes. Yes.
And when you can release the version of it that struggles, but rather just sees it as like, in
A
some ways,
game. Yeah. Yeah. Like my favorite thing to say when we come up against challenges, this is interesting, because interesting opens up your point of view as opposed to this is hard or this. It's like, oh, this is interesting. I wonder what's next.
yeah, and I wonder what's next. And sometimes, and this is my manifestor, and perhaps a little bit of control, though it still works for me. How is this working for me?
Mm-hmm.
Ask myself that, especially when I'm in the parts of me that feel like this isn't working for me and that's starting to dip into victimhood. So I'll use that. I'm like, but how is this working for me?
Mm, that's
Um,
such a good question.
it's better sometimes for me to just be like, I'm going to trust this is working for me, because sometimes my mind in the how wants to create a real answer that I feel like is quote unquote, air quotes, real, but is not actually how it's working for me. It's working for me. Yeah.
Your mind's like, let me give you a step by step how this is working for you, as opposed to like, well, because then also gate 28 is in our splenic center. It's intuition, it's knowing in the now. It's why you have to sometimes wait and be like, this doesn't feel like it's working for me. So I have to pause until I get that next intuitive hit.
Intuitive hint. And then the fun part with gate 28 is the fear that comes with it being in a splenic gate is
Mm.
that, okay, what if I fail and do not
Yes.
achieve my purpose in life? It's a real intense one.
Yeah, it's the fear of failure in
Like,
there.
and it's fear of failure, but like failure, it's the fear linked to purpose. Like,
It
I'm
is. It's
not
that
going to.
vision.
Fine. Yep. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to. And so it gets real deep. Hence why the mental, like, no, I see how this aligns to my purpose. Still, like you can get into that. And so it's this dose of clarity for the mind and a mental framework you can use of like, this is working for me. Um, and maybe even visioning it, seeing it until you fully trust,
Yes.
which gets us all
Mm-hmm.
the way back to the beginning
Yeah.
of this conversation.
Which, and I realized as we were going through all that, Shabala, we told everyone my name, but we didn't really tell anyone who I was.
No, and I did that on purpose. I
Oh,
wasn't,
okay.
I wasn't ready yet.
I'm also a manifestor, people. So here I
I
am trying
wasn't
to inform her.
I wasn't ready yet. I wasn't ready yet. Here we go. And I really, so my original was like, let's ground into the moment that this is. And then now, let me tell you who we have here, right? And so what's beautiful is I love me. I'm like, should I curse on my podcast? I just did. Oops. I I love a moment, Jahjehan, where people have no clue who you are. They
Yes.
have yet to put you in a box.
Mm,
They get to move, they get to step forward and experience your power. And then when the box presents itself, they're like, oh, okay, I see.
Ah,
I also love when people don't know and they come
mhm.
up and they say all these things or judge you in all sorts of ways. And then you just, this is, I don't know if this is, I don't know, you can tell me what astrology is. This is my Gemini. I don't know what this is, but this is a part of me that just sits there and I'm like, okay, keep
It's
like, it's okay. I'm like, keep doing that. And then I will say whatever. And they're like, oh shit. Oh, so you already knew this? Or, oh, so you, and I'm like, it's okay. Like, but yeah. So I did want people to witness you, and I love how that's set up. Jahjehan is for me, and my original plan, and I'm going to stick to it, was how we met. Right?
mm.
I met
Mhm.
Jahjehan at a human design, like an advanced human design training. Specifically for karma clearing. So we were in, so Shaitan came, or Chaitan, officially
Mhm.
his name. If you listen to this podcast and you are familiar with Chaitan Parkin, one of the OGs of human design, first person to be officially certified by Ra, you will hear me sometimes call him Chaitan because we go back and forth. And because when I asked him how to pronounce his name, he was like, I don't know.
That's
Osho.
like me, like it's like Jahjehan, like yeah.
He was literally
When you
like,
got
I
a
have
different
no
name,
clue.
you
He's
just
like,
go with what goes.
I don't know how this person named me. And so let's actually talk about your naming because
Mm.
your naming was interesting.
Well, my name arrived in a telegram.
Say more.
I almost left the hospital, baby girl bath.
Where
Yeah,
was the
my
telegram from?
from Sri Lanka.
Who was it from?
So my teacher, Bawa Mahayadeen, who was the guru who named me, who was the guru who was like, he was a grandfather to me. He was basically, that's what I knew him as, my grandfather. But he was this amazing spiritual teacher who I just happened to arrive on this earth into a family where they had found him. That's a whole other story. Um, and yeah, and so my name arrived in a telegram the day before I left the hospital, and it said, I have the telegram in my baby book, and basically it said, what my name was. I'm the only person who's named that in my community because typically it's a male name. Jahjehan in Arabic is king of the world, which I like to remind my husband of when he's, and my kids. um, but the more secret feminine meaning. So I love also that I have a masculine and a feminine name. The feminine meaning is the beauty and grace of God's gaze. And that was the name that, and he gave me both in the telegram. He gave me both the masculine and the feminine, and that's how my name arrived. Um, and I left the hospital with that name instead of baby girl, which
Well,
that would have fit me too.
baby girl. Oh, baby girl. I love that we told that story because there was a moment where I heard that story and a couple other things from you. And for me, so I came to the karma clearing event. I had already experienced karma clearing a couple times with Chayton in private VIP sessions, again in Santa Fe. Like, so this is my third rodeo. And
Mm.
um, I just was like, okay, uh, to be honest, he was like, you can do it. Here's all the stuff. And I was like, let me come and get the official training so that I'll have it like written in certain ways and I can also see it for a third time. Like I personally like experiencing, having a lived experience of something at least three times before I'm sharing it. So I came in, I came here with my medicine woman bag and all these things because I was in Austin. And the more I heard and learned about you, there was this moment, and I don't do this often. It's something that people do with me, and you don't know this because I did this with you. So people come up to me and they'll experience me and they're like, "Oh shit, you're real." And I had that feeling with you where I was like, "Oh, she's really deep in the spiritual thing. Like this is her life. She
Yeah.
grew up in this. She lived this. This isn't new for her." So much of what I have seen in my personal experience of the human design community is newbies.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say just like I was, like newbies who've gotten into the system, who are monetizing the life out of it in short periods of time, who are in the funny, you are a cross of education. So they're
Mm-hmm.
education of the information, but they have not fully been steeped in the application or fully accepted the system because they're too busy selling it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll get into these experiences where people are like, they're trying to amass certifications, and you'll look at the depth and it's just not there.
Mm-hmm.
And what was cool and what I do think informed why I picked Chayton, and even though I could give you a whole list of like why I like the me of today would not pick him, but the me of then picked him. So why he was so impactful for me, I did not realize, but it was really because of all the other stuff he had done that was not human design. It was his time
Yeah.
on the show. It was the other systems that he studied. It was spiritual. Like he
The
had these
depth.
other things and he doesn't speak on them. So like that's one thing I will say, like recommend wise, like if you do decide, if you're looking for someone who knows human design, find someone who has depth. And for him, he does.
Mm-hmm.
Need to be in specific programs to receive that. And I think we did on that day when we had our karma clearing because he was doing the meditations and some of the other elements.
Yes.
So when I met you and you were talking to me about your experience, like there was part of me that also like related. I'm like, oh, she's like Chayton. Yeah. And even more so though, because she was born into this shit.
Yeah.
And when I say this shit, I mean this sparkle, as you know. Like I just love that term.
Into the
I was
smile of spirituality.
sparkle. Yeah, like it's so funny. I literally will be like, um, I literally will say, I love this shit, and then I'm like,
And then
sparkle.
it's like instantly
Every
sparkle.
time. I can't stop myself from using the expression because I still love it. I haven't fully released it yet, but yes, this into the spiritual awareness that many of us do not have. And then what I loved is you're still grounded in the present. It was it's rare that you meet someone who has the depth in something that's so up there and
Mm,
actually not grounded, but then is still grounded in reality and then is still pursuing a professional path and all the things and can speak about them from different lenses, and still with like critique and criticism and honesty and all that stuff. And so for me, I was really impressed. Um, and then you said to me, what'd you say to me, Shahjahan?
um, mind you, this is the first day, and we sat, we went. I met you at the bar. We were at the restaurant, and I had known you for what, an hour at this point. Like we'd been in the class together,
And
but I
not
hadn't really
interacted. You
interacted.
hadn't interacted.
No, not interacted. So we'd spent a day together, but not interacted. I met Shabala at a bar, and I was blown away actually because I was like, oh my god, I know her. And then but I didn't tell her that right away. We sat at a table, we talked for a little, and then I think about an hour in, I was like, I think I've my energy has gotten to know her energy well enough. I'm gonna just say it, and I was like, I dreamed I was going to meet you here because I did. And I was like, I saw you before I met you.
And
And I was like, and I was reading her and I was like, I think she's okay with that. I think she's okay that I literally just sat down at a table across from her. She met me an hour ago and I was like, I already knew you. I saw you.
that's one of those moments where you're like, okay.
I know this is not my normal entree into friendship with people. Like, I dreamed of you. I don't dream of many people, but there's certain people who I meet and it's an instant. There's people I meet where it's an instant soul recognition. But this was beyond that. I had literally dreamed of Shabala.
So what you don't know and why it was like more normal for me on that moment was that the day before you came for the Calmer Clearing training, but I was doing the advanced relationship training. So really I came for the advanced relationship training and then just stayed because, I was like, well, it'll be good to do karma clearing again. You
Mm-hmm.
came for the
Karma
karma,
clearing. Mm-hmm.
I think, segue, and this more is coming later in this, but we are now working on about to release homecoming experiences, like full on rebirth
Mm-hmm.
level experiences. Y'all get on a flight, you come to Sloom with us, and we're working on purpose and partnership. And so at that training, I was there for the partnership aspect, and you were there for the purpose aspect. Isn't that fun?
Which makes sense.
Yeah. And so we came together and the day before, so Chayton and Carolyn were teaching all of the relationship thing. And I know about their story, and she saw him in a dream. So that was a big part of
Mm.
their story. So, like, you walking up to me at that event and saying that, I was like, oh, maybe this is my Carola. Like, okay. Like,
I did not drive up in a red car, but
I'm gonna be open. No, that's their other story. Yes, but I was literally like, okay, like, okay, and then I just felt into your energy, and I was like, it's clean. Like, it is, embodiment of your chart, by the way, motiveless. Like that's one of your placements. I think it's
it's
actually
my unconscious sun,
there we go.
25.1. Yeah.
There we go. And I was just like, it's clean. She's not like a lot of people see me and think they can literally sense my money channel. Literally.
Mm.
And I can feel an opportunist sensing my money channel a mile away. I can sometimes I can see the eyes and I'm like, oh, but you just felt real clean. And I was like, okay. And then my brain starts working and I'm like, wait, maybe I was like, well, what do you do? I'm like, maybe we're supposed to work together. I'm like, maybe I'm supposed to hire you for illustrations.
Mhm.
And that's how it started. And then we reconnected and here we are on this wild journey. Um, and what I will say for you, and I'll give you my personal piece and then we can introduce who you are. But my personal experience with you is that through the journey of us collaborating together, you closed so many loops for me. And it was through me working with you, but also supporting you.
Mm.
It really put me through a journey of being able to better articulate myself.
Mm.
And so as we think about we're going to talk about your human design, and so I know we've been doing it, but for the bigger, deeper discussion, keep following the pod. I'm going to do Jahjehan's medicine map. But when we think about your cross of education, um, I almost feel like you took that gift and allowed me to have a piece of it for my own use, to be able to really explain to people the flow of working with me
Mm-hmm.
and explain it to myself so that I could finally release the version of me that feels like, oh my God, my intensity uh, moves people through experiences that are uncomfortable. and that's not seeing that as a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
Instead is like feeling funky about it. But then also, you're closing a chapter related to collaboration as well. And so, like, I just was like, wow, the experience of Jahjehan, for me, I got the gift of going through it for a while.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, we are uh, cleaning up. And really we make that channel maturation together 53, 42, but we're finishing these cycles. And so I just really felt like God sent me this vessel, this woman in this moment to help me do the finishing work of this 9-year cycle so that I do not have to repeat it again. And with
Mm.
you emotionally defined, sometimes it was a real challenge to like go through all those parts, but I really needed to because it was many experiences that led to this moment. And so for me, you are this beautiful vessel that shows up, brings people on an adventure. You come from a place of sincerity.
Yeah.
Then, as people interact, engage, or speak with you, they get to clean up um, the parts that they have either been resisting, avoiding, confused, like lacking clarity in of their growth cycle.
Mm.
And so that has been my personal experience of you. Um, and so to me, it makes sense that 30 minutes later, uh, Jahjehan is both an intuitive guide and artist. And she uses her art, which, we didn't mention that, but like the first thing that connected us was me seeing your art, feeling the
Mm.
power in it. And that's really why I was like, oh, because you gave me your card.
Mm-hmm.
Your art was on your card and I saw it and I was like, this made me feel things. And okay. I was like, keep dreaming. Like whatever the dream, I was like, I feel something with this art.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm going to listen to her and believe what she's saying, even if in this moment. And the funny part is, I have visions. I see people in dreams. Like, so it's not like it was,
It's not like you're like, I don't believe in that shit.
no, like it wasn't. It's just like no one's ever come up to me with that authentically and it not having some other funky stuff with it. And so
Yeah.
for me, I was like, we're gonna see because I feel the vibration and so that art, and then I was like, that art is gonna support me. And that's funny.
Mm.
That's really like that is my little selfish moment. I was like that and really just in truth, like I was like that art will support me and will support my work and will support what I'm trying to do with people in this world. And I felt that and so yeah, I'll let you talk now, but like introduce yourself, Shahjahan.
Well, and I love what came to me is now you're part of that art because the art that I handed you was my 64 Gates illustrations, and now you're my 214.
I'm there. I'm in
You're
it.
there. You're
And
there.
even that, the fact that you chose that was like a channel that I like hadn't been as focused on. Like
Mm-hmm.
but I was like, and you chose that. And then I felt like being in your presence forced me to make the choice to fully embody it.
Mm.
It was like, because I have 2 on the 6, and it's like, are you really, like, are you going to follow through on your direction, even when all the pieces seemingly
Yes.
fall apart?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a potent one.
Okay. So, Shahjahan, tell me more. What else are we talking about?
I'm
Who
like,
you
you've gotten
are?
most of my life story at this point.
You, you said I didn't
So
introduce you, so I want to make
yeah,
sure.
I'm like, what else do I tell you? I live outside of Philadelphia in an old
Mhm.
stone farmhouse with my family, with my husband Joe, who I've been together with for 30 years.
How long have you been married?
I
Yep.
like to joke that I've known him since he had about 4 chest hairs. Um, we met as college sweethearts, and now we have two kids, a just about to be 17-year-old and almost 14-year-old.
I want to pause for a second and acknowledge that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was like the dream. Like I'm not gonna lie. You said that and I could go back. I remember who my first kiss was. And
Mm.
it was funny because I really did like love him. There's so much in that story. But I didn't even know it, you know? And so I'm like, that's such the dream story for so many people. And I know every moment of it probably didn't feel like a dream. However, you've been married for 30 years. Like that's not
Married for 25 years,
married for
but
20.
together for 30 years. I mean, married for 25 years.
What?
That's like a quarter of a century. Let's
Right?
just
Like,
put that in
let's
perspective.
look at this. You're living the Lifetime movie fairy tale.
Yes.
You are.
I,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the
yeah, it's true. I am.
comment. It
I
says
will say,
you're
and is the
living the
fairy tale
Lifetime movie
replete
fairy
with
tale.
all of the moments where in a fairy tale we know it's not all like the
Well,
sunshine and rainbows.
this is
There's the
from
dragon, there's the,
this
there's
is
the
Mallory in the chat at Badass Creatives. Now she said Lifetime movie. She was specific. You know, a
oh, Lifetime. That's true.
Lifetime movie has all the ups and downs. So
It's
she
not the
was spot
Hallmark, it's the
on.
Lifetime.
We are living the Lifetime movie fairy tale, but like not the like really intense downs. Like that was a bit Lifetime can get kind of spicy. So maybe not
Mm-hmm.
spicy, but just want to acknowledge that because staying in a marriage and then staying in a marriage when you are spiritually aware,
Mm-hmm.
staying in a marriage when you know your human design, and then staying in a marriage is a manifestor with emotional authority. There's a lot there. And for you to choose it, be in it, enjoy it, um, I just want to give you your fucking like flowers.
Ah, my lunaria. I
I want
love
to
it.
give you your lunaria.
Ah, I love it. Well,
Okay.
and it's been like I always say, like Joe and I talk, it's like it's a constant chance to grow together and to choose. Every moment is a choice in one direction or another. And we are constantly choosing to re-engage our relationship
Mhm.
because a relationship is not a stagnant. It's like it's the third person in the room, you know? Like you like to say 1 + 1 = 3, and that really is the relationship,
But I
you
love how
know?
you said third person in the room because I was like, say it. But
Yeah,
that's another framing of it that
it
I just
is.
is so juicy.
It is. And it's been 30 years of learning to like we are not the same people. When we were 18 and we met, I mean, I've been on a spiritual journey and the interesting thing is Joe had too, and but we had very diverse backgrounds, very diverse everything, and it's just been an adventure, like and it's an adventure where there's sometimes where you're like, I've never wanted off the ride, but I have definitely wanted a pause where, like, on the roller coaster, like, can we get to the point where we're going like this instead of this or this? Like,
It's beautiful that you say you never wanted off the ride. So I'm 13 years in, and
mhm.
there is a distinct moment where I can tell you, I was like, I'm gonna get off this fucking ride. I was literally like, I am going to make this much money, fill our accounts, and leave and do what the fuck I want. Like I had a
Mm,
whole like 6 months of that. Like, and it was like fueling me creating my work because I was like, I desperately want to avoid all the work in this relationship. And so I'm going to make myself so fucking successful so that I can leave and not because I still loved him. So, right?
yeah.
Like, I need to leave him in a good place, but I will do everything I can do so that I can leave and avoid this relationship.
And I'm glad you said that because actually I have to fix my statement because because we're going to talk about it. There was one moment where I did want off the ride, but it wasn't because I didn't love my partner. It was because I was going through a dark night of the soul, and I thought that my partner would be better off without me.
And now we're going to jump into that one moment. And so let's jump in and we want to talk like just to kind of pull it back out for a minute. Trusting your feelings. Trusting your feelings is the title of this, and I when that title came through, the reason I wanted to make sure it was there was because two things happened. One, I got in a deep discussion just the other day with someone who is literally in a public place, very loudly saying, and then you just want to use your feelings to make decisions, like not use any logic and not use like, and so there was like someone who was like massively saying that. And I just got this amazing, this very powerful human man and was like talking about a woman who was moving through a relationship moment with, and very
Mm,
vocally suggesting that feelings aren't the way to make decisions, like especially not business decisions, especially not logical decisions. And he was there and he was like saying it with passion. He was saying it, I know, from a place of frustration because I could feel it,
yeah.
and because he confirmed it later. And then he was saying it, other people were agreeing to it. And I was thinking, there's a whole group of people, John included,
Yeah.
who that is the entire guidance. The
Mm,
feelings
yeah.
is really where the decision making comes from,
Hmm.
the most aligned decision making, certainly. And but in a world that tells you not to trust your feelings,
Exactly. It's really challenging.
right? And so let's jump in. Let's jump deep in. We're going to talk for the remainder of this podcast about three core stories. We're going to dig into personal, we're going to dig into professional, and we're going to go back to love. And within those, I want you to tell your story, but I'm going to keep poking on how did you trust yourself? And so let's go
Hmm.
into that dark night of the soul with your permission.
Yes.
And before we do, I'm going to take 3 deep breaths and I'm going to invite you and anyone else to come with me on this little journey. Couple breaths so that we can fully drop into this experience with Jahjehan. I'm going to be doing breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Again, take these breaths at your own risk, even though you're breathing right now. Just want to say that. We are not a medical professional. And if you have any concern about breathing, please check in with them first. Through the
We
nose,
hope you're breathing, though.
in through the nose, and out through the mouth. On the second one, tiny little hold at the top. Hold. Big exhale, open mouth. One more. Hmm. Thank you, Raji. I just wanted to really be able to receive your story. And so, with that, let me get you on the screen and me in a different position. This is my, yeah, I figured it out.
Ah,
Yeah, and I'm just going to drop in. And so, we're talking about your dark night of the soul. Tell me more.
so I'm like, I'm I'm having a moment because we were going to end with that, but we're going right in to the dark night of the soul. This happened, I was telling Shabala, when I was a new mother. I was not expecting this. I've been that person who, since I was a kid, I've always been extremely maternal. I love to take care of people. My younger brother, when he was born, there's a really funny picture of me looking really upset because my grandmother was holding the baby and I wasn't. Um, and so when I became a new mother, I had done everything. I had been like reading all the books. I had been babysitting taking care of other people's children for years. I was so excited. And when my son was born, it brought up, we were talking at the beginning of this, the Cancer moon, like how things come up. And I'm a Cancer moon in my astrology.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting because it brought up all of these things that I thought I had healed. I'm going to drop this in here, but it's another story that we can talk about. But when I was 23, my brother died unexpectedly. And my brother was my son, actually 22. And my son was born almost exactly 10 years later, my first child. And when he was born, he was born, at a birthing center with midwives, but it was not a labor. He apparently was born not breathing. And it triggered this trauma response in my body where all of the things, I had witnessed my mother losing her son. I know from a past life regression that I lost a son in a past life. And when my son was born, all of a sudden, this preciousness of this human being came into my world. And the idea that I could lose this being that I loved, that I had carried, that I had nurtured for 9 months in my own body, my heart was now outside of me. This thing that I loved more than life itself. And I didn't realize it, but I was slipping into postpartum depression because body chemistry is a funky thing, my friends. And even though you think you're never going to get postpartum depression, which I didn't think, because I was like, I'm a strong individual. I know all about parenting. I've taken care of kids for years, etc. Body chemistry. And also all that other layers.
So you related before this postpartum depression to strength and to education?
Yes, right?
Mhm.
Like, I was like, strong-minded women don't get postpartum depression. Okay, that's not true. And since then, I've shared that with every single person. It's like, it is not about being it is not about mental, it's that feeling.
And
Like,
so now you're getting into feelings, and let's go back for a second. So did you know that his heart had stopped during the labor? Or did you, because you had said apparently, so did you find out later?
I found out later that he came out not breathing.
Was that a shock in the moment when you found out?
Yes. And, he was born into an environment where I was in full trust, but everybody else's energy. And in human design, I have 7 open centers.
Yeah, so you feel
I
every.
feel the room. I feel the room deeply. And I felt the panic energy that was in that room. Because everyone else, I'm up here, the baby's coming out down there. I'm not seeing a purple, non breathing baby come out. What I did process was there was no cry when he came out of the birth canal. There wasn't a cry until the doctor flipped him over, smacked him, and there was a big intake, and he finally let out a cry. But when he came out, he was purple and not breathing, apparently. My best friend is an emergency room doctor. She was at the foot of the bed.
Mm.
And she said, she actually shared with me years later, she had to go through PTSD training for her. It actually kicked off a whole thing for her. It initiated, shocking, her into essentially like getting specialized training because she realized how much it had affected her being there.
So you were feeling all that energy, not being able
Yes.
to mentally exactly process what was going on. Then
Yeah.
the joy of receiving your baby, I'm guessing,
Mm-hmm.
and the shock of realizing you could lose
This
or you
precious
almost
being.
lost
Yeah.
this baby. And then relating that back to loss that you had literally witnessed and lived with
Mm-hmm.
your mother losing your brother, and then
Mm-hmm.
also like some past life stuff in there too.
Yeah. Some little, like, still the stew is still in there.
Rested. Okay. And so now, ooh, and there's more there related to your mother too. we
Mm.
won't we won't pop into that one, but I'm like, okay, so all of this is happening. And you use the words dark night of the soul. So for our listeners, let's take a moment. What do you mean by dark night of the soul? Just because there's a lot out there. Someone might go Google on the internet and
Yeah, yeah. Well, one, it literally did happen at night. I stopped sleeping. When my son was born, I could sleep for maybe 2 hours a night. For that first week he was born, I didn't sleep more than an hour a day. I literally, my body could not bring my nervous system back to a resting space. And so we were prepared to be like, we had a co-sleeper in our room. I had it set up next to the bed. I would literally lay awake and listen to his noises and his breathing, afraid that at any moment his breathing might stop.
so you were afraid he
I
might
was
die.
in PTSD. I was just in full trauma.
Yeah, so you
Um,
literally were like, I may lose this baby. He may die.
yes. Yeah. And after a week of not sleeping, my husband, I was adamant that we were going to have the baby in my room. My husband moved the co-sleeper to his side of the bed, so at least it wasn't directly next to me. We had like one of those little sidecar things. um, and so it was actually really beautiful because he has this huge bond with our son because of that.
Mhm.
And because I was able to essentially say to my partner, like, it's okay. I can't handle being next to this child, but I still need him in our sphere, but I need the space. I literally need you to support me in between him.
So it's interesting because in that moment, you might have been in postpartum depression and PTSD and all these things, but you still trusted enough a part of you that could say, okay, I'm feeling these things. I
Hmm.
got to go with them. And since I'm going with them, I need your support.
Yeah. And it was almost like at this point, my brain was so full of everything. My body was the only thing I could really trust. And so to bring us to why I say this was my dark night of the soul, this was the first 3 months of my son's life. I was barely sleeping. I would wake up in the middle of the night. Babies feed a lot. Like, my son was just like any other baby. I would wake up in the middle of the night and nurse my son. And I would look down at this little being as I was nursing him and just think how much I loved him and how terrified I was by the depth of my love. And I would put him down after I'd nurse him, and then I wouldn't be able to go back to sleep because all this. So I would go downstairs and I would sit in the dark and put on one little reading light, and I would take out the books of my Sufi teacher, the one who gave my name. And, for years, he gave all these discourses, and I would just read these books, and I would trust every time I would open a different book, and I would open, and before I'd open the book, I'd say, Show me what I need to know right now.
Mm.
And every time I would open to something that hit me in a way where, because the thing that I was contemplating as I went downstairs onto that sofa in the middle of the night was that my son and my husband would be better off if I just disappeared.
So let's pause for a second. Um, what do you think made you feel like your son would be better off if you disappeared?
Because I was holding so much pain and so much fear that it was almost like I wanted to take that away from them so that they could just live their lives happily without me, which as I say it now, and even
No,
as I thought it then, it made
it
no
makes
sense.
no, it makes total sense. Like
Yes.
moving through the journey of that moment where I was like, I'm gonna make this money and get out of here. What really
Yeah.
was at the core of that was this feeling like my husband keeps getting dragged through these journeys with me of building things and then breaking and building things, and there was like this pain, this deep, like on the surface level I could have said like his values aren't aligned with mine. He cares too much more about money and not
Mm-hmm.
about what I'm trying to build. Or like I could have said a lot of things, but at the core, I was feeling shame about my journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want him to have to go through my process and to keep watching me fail. And it wasn't just like him and I just felt like he kept trying to help me.
Yeah.
I didn't want him to have to keep loving me, literally, like have to
Mm.
keep helping me, but I want to receive his love at the level that he could give it and
Yes.
to deal with his reflection, which yes, he didn't have the language, and so sometimes it came across as judgment, but I didn't want to do that because I was like, this is so much for you. And my existence is what creates, like now I can be like,
Yep.
my existence is what creates this growth for you. But back
Yes.
then, it's like my existence is what creates this pain for you. So it makes actually complete sense to me as someone who's lived it. Um,
Well, and
right.
what you said, that yeah, that was my feeling, is like I am creating this pain for them because I was in, and there was this part of me, you said failure. Like I felt like a failure because this was so much harder than I thought it was going to be, because I couldn't control. And that was the biggest thing. I couldn't control what was going to happen. And that was the scariest thing. And to take myself out of the equation would have been like the final way of controlling the situation. But at the core of it, that's why I came down and I read those books every night instead of walking out the door or, exiting, because I knew at my core, in my feeling, that it was my head that I was listening to, all this chatter. And it was my body too. But ultimately, underneath it, when I sat in the dark on my sofa in the middle of the night while my husband and my son slept upstairs, I knew that the truth of it was that I was lying to myself. And that what I really needed to do was actually to allow other people to help me, because I had been so independent and so fiercely independent and so much created this picture of myself as I'm going to be this amazing mother. I'm going to take care of everything. I. And it was this surrender moment of I had to let my husband take care of me. And he brought my mother in to take care of me. Between the two of them, I wasn't alone for the first 3 months of my son's life, for more than an hour or two, because they knew that I needed that support and I didn't have to ask for it, because I wasn't able to see that I needed that support, but they saw it. And I'm so grateful for both of them carrying me through that time. Like my mother would come in the middle of the day and she'd known I hadn't slept at night because I've been up. And she'd say, let me take the baby, nurse him. I'm going to be downstairs. I'm going to hold him, because I'd be like, because he was colicky and all the things that babies are. She's like, I'm going to make sure he sleeps. You go upstairs and you lay down and you sleep. And I would say, okay, I'll try. And I'd go upstairs and I'd sleep a little, but at least I got a little.
Mhm.
But it was the first time I think that I really allowed myself to receive
Mhm.
in the way that it was almost like it was a life or death situation for me in order to like it brought I had to allow myself to receive
Mhm.
because there was no other choice. And so it was this surrender.
Let's talk about it. There was a choice,
Well, there was.
and you made a choice. And you
Yes.
made a choice to also prioritize your baby's life as well in this
Yes.
moment.
Mhm.
You're calling it life or death, but in truth, aside from you potentially going that route, the other elements were not life or death.
No.
You made a choice, and you made a choice to accept the help, even if it felt uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because as you're talking, and again, we're not doing the human design thing at depth today, but I'm thinking about crisis
Mhm.
and the role it gets to play in your life
Yeah.
consistently. And so my guess is because what I'm in awe of is that you had had a practice of saying, okay, well, I'm here, and some of us would just mentally stew, and you still said, okay, let me go back. I'm going to read this book. Divine, tell me what I need to read, and I'm
Mm.
going to just move through this process. And that 36, that crisis is for us to really get to peace and like this
Yeah.
beautiful way of being in essentially like the eye of the storm or the calm within it, right? Like that's how I think of it. And yours is in your ambition. It's quite fascinating. And you have a version of it that wants to like push,
Mhm.
that wants to just like persevere. Like really, I think the original, like the OG is like persevere in the face of opposition,
Mm.
the emotional power to just handle the crisis.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like this wasn't a moment you could be in that. And there's another part of you that like just wants to resist. Like
Yeah.
you're, no, this is what I should be doing.
Yeah, this is my picture of how this was going to go.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so and also like this is how I think it really like legitimately should go. Like this is the standard that I tried, and I this is the standard that I established for myself, and I would like to maintain
Yeah.
what I think a mother should do. And
Yeah.
so
In my
in,
Lifetime movie,
in your lifetime movie, were you shooting on yourself? You
I
think?
was shooting all over myself every night but you know what? In that shooting, I was also falling deeply into my spiritual practices.
It seems like it. What I'm hearing is balance. What
Yeah.
I'm hearing like I'm honestly hearing the mind be like ta, 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 like, and
Uh-huh.
then
The
you,
body.
the body being like, okay, but
Yeah.
we're gonna trust. We're gonna get back into balance. And your
Yeah.
practice,
And that
and
is my practice. It's like when the mind that's the trusting my feelings. And that's what really brought me through that dark night of the soul was really when my mind would chatter away. In the simplest prayer that I have is something that I say still. But that during that time, it was almost like a constant breath, a constant undertone. And it was La ilaha illahu. And it means there is nothing but God, only God exists. And
mm,
God is whatever you want. Like God is the source, God is the power. Like I don't think of God as like this big white guy in the sky or whatever. It's like it is within us all. And it's
can
it's really saying like there is only this, and for me it breaks down even more into like there is only this moment exists.
can you say it again slowly?
Mhm. La ilaha illahu.
La ilaha illahu.
Illahu. And there's a breathing for it. It's like you're
La
supposed to
ilaha illahu.
La ilaha illahu. You breathe out on the la ilaha,
La ilaha.
and then you breathe in on the ilahu.
So powerful.
And
Oh,
that's what I did all whenever when my mind was going wild. That's what I would sink into, because
Okay.
there is only God. There is nothing but God. Only God exists. And
So,
it's like saying, like, I am clearing all of this.
mhm.
Only this exists. Like, I trust that something bigger than all of this chatter is out there. And that was my grounding, and still is my grounding when you know, like that gate of crisis.
I love it.
Every now and then I think to myself, somebody will hear about my life and they're like, "Oh my God." And I'm like, "What? That's not, that was
That's
nothing.
that's just life. Yeah.
That's just life." I was like, "That's fine."
So then let's tune in again. And what I
Mm,
love about this is the release of victimhood, right? You
mm,
know,
mm-hmm.
it's just sometimes like it's just life.
Exactly.
um,
Exactly.
I want to I have two. So one, I want to talk about a framing that I'd like to try how this has happened for you, and to talk about that
Mm,
through the context of love. But I also have a medicine woman question for you, right? So kicking it off good. Here in 2026. What I will promise y'all is anyone who comes on the pod will get the full me, and we'll also get options. So I have a question that's been coming through. Would you like to receive it live? You can.
yes.
No. Okay. I was like, I can get
Yes.
it to you.
I mean, I love you. I love these questions.
So you've said a couple of times, this was the first 3 months of his life. This was the first 3 months of his life. This was the first 3 months of his life. And so my question is, have you forgiven yourself fully?
Mm. I mean, the honest thing is probably no. My head is like, of course I have. Mm.
Okay. And I'm feeling as you're saying this, some tickles, tightness in the mouth when I ask the question, a little bit of things, tickles all the way down,
Mm.
funky down here, mm, moving, landing in the heart.
Yeah.
What haven't you forgiven about this being the first 3 months of his life? Do you feel like this 3 months shaped him in a way that you didn't desire? Do you feel why is 3 months significant?
Well, I'll give you the head answer and then I'll give you the feeling.
Yeah.
The first 3 months are they call it like the fourth trimester.
Okay.
It's that time when the baby is still developing, adjusting into the world. And, there's a part of me that feels like wasn't there to be able to sort of midwife him into the world that I wanted to give him.
Okay. And some feelings and things come up, and so you keep talking. And if I emote, just we're gonna leave. We gonna have that happen. So yeah,
Sounds,
you were
yeah.
there.
Um, yeah, and I think it really is letting go of those expectations of how it was supposed to be.
Yeah. Who was there?
Hmm.
Who was there in those first 3 months?
uh Physically.
Who was physically there?
I mean, I was there, my husband was there, my mother was there, my friends were there, my community was there.
So
And
you
there
were.
was, hmm,
So you were there.
I was there and yet I wasn't there. And
So
so
you were
that's,
there.
yeah.
You were there.
And so I think there's that,
Did you try your best? The you that was there, was she trying her best?
oh God, yeah.
Did
So
she
much
give
so that she was exhausted.
did she
Yeah.
give her all?
Like more than her all. She gave all and then, the other half.
Hadn't she just like put her body through all this stuff to even birth him into life?
Yes. Yeah.
Was she still healing?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. So she was there. You were
Ye
there.
yeah.
The best
I
you
was
could.
in the crisis. It was like I'm not even telling you the half of it because, as mentioned, he was colicky. He had all sorts of food allergies. I basically stopped eating almost everything in order to essentially get him to a point where he wasn't reacting to my breast milk.
So you literally stopped eating everything to feed him so that he could
Hmm.
feed off of you.
And considered, I'm a lifelong vegetarian. I considered eating meat because at that point I realized like I was cutting so many things out that I was worried that he was going to be malnourished through me. But
So
yet
why?
I wouldn't allow him to be fed formula because that
Because
was
you because you wanted to give him the best first 3 months, right?
yes.
And you did, didn't you?
I
Did
did.
you give the best first 3 months you could provide?
Absolutely.
And then this baby seemed to have so this baby, let's take it out,
Mhm.
was breastfed,
Mhm.
had family,
Mhm.
had community,
Mhm.
had shelter, had
Mhm.
support, had a mom who cared so much about him that she like changed up her whole diet to make it work, and
Yeah.
who cared so much about him that she literally did not sleep.
Mhm.
So who else was there? We were saying your husband and your family. So this we when we talked about this was the love story.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so let's just talk about love for a moment because all I hear in this story is love.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's me feeling guilty because I'm not giving everything like that I think I should be. And I know in my life, I've always had a hard time receiving. And my husband and my mother were the two people. Like everybody else was there too. My father helped, but my mother and my husband were really, um, they were my caretakers, and to allow myself to be supported because I'd always been really independent, had my own job, made my own money, did my own this, did my own that. Like even taking care of my mother when she was like when I was younger, when I was a child, I used to take care of my mother in a way that like it was almost like I allowed my mother to be my mother again.
Mhm.
And it felt like a failure to me almost to need her that much.
So let's talk about how this was not only happening for you, but
Yeah.
potentially happening for the other people in your life. And so,
Yes. Yeah.
and let's play a game. It's a complete game.
Okay.
Let's pretend you didn't get postpartum depression. You weren't terrified your baby was going to die, and you did all the things that you planned. Had you done that, would your baby have gotten the same depth of love and diversity of love?
Mm.
You think?
Mhm. Mm-mm. No. No.
What do you think about the husband? One of the things you mentioned was that your husband and son got to bond on like a very special level.
Yes. And still
What,
have that amazing bond.
so let's talk about that. Like what? Because that was a result of you not being able to be supermom and the desired version of supermom, because you were most certainly supermom from what I'm
Ye-
hearing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and as you're saying all this, it's like, would I go back and change it? Hell no. Because that experience was like, what a beautiful growth point. Um, and would I go back and change it? Yeah.
What
Like
would you
both.
what would you go back like yourself post this conversation?
Mm-hmm.
If you'll dance with me, and then we're going to talk about something you mentioned earlier with business. So optional.
Mm-hmm.
Something you would like to say publicly to past Jahjehan, who is
Mm.
in that moment and who has held on to some concern about these first 3 months? What would you say to her?
It's I can only say what's coming bubbling because I'm like,
Bubble it, bubble it.
bubbling, which is to allow yourself to be supported and to receive is not weak. And I think that's the biggest thing is it didn't mean I wasn't strong. It didn't mean I was broken. It didn't mean I was a failure. It actually meant that I allowed myself to soften enough to let other people love me as much as I love them.
What did you model and teach your son in that first 3 months by doing that? Can you tell old Shahjahan, previous Shahjahan, what your son is learning in those 3 months?
Just that letting people love you as much as you love them is a it's not a weakness, it's a gift. It requires more strength than you know. And sometimes the world puts you in crisis, so you have to learn that lesson. In my sphere, my world puts me in crisis a lot, so I have to learn the lessons because I love to be that individual, strong, don't need nobody, single definition, human.
And what I will say is like that hasn't been my experience of you at all.
No.
So clearly, if you had to learn the lessons, you've gotten to, and you
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
So thank you for your honesty and vulnerability as we move through this discussion, because as someone who is about to go on a motherhood journey, I'm like in the process of it, is what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it feels truly like a gift to be able to receive this lens of it. Um, and an honor, um, yeah, an honor to just hear it. And so you giving yourself grace in that. I didn't have the education about like the fourth trimester yet. I'm like the whole first 7 years is important. Kind of like remind that. I'm like 7 years, like focus 7 to 10 years, like. But I hadn't honed in on that, specific part of it. And so for me, hearing your story, I was like, wow, she I was like, oh my gosh, you had like your friend who was an ER doctor and the midwife, and like it's just like I loved. It felt inspirational
Mm.
hearing what you had created and how you had planned the thing and the support that you had, and the fact that you'd actually already put all of that in place, so that, like, to me, what I heard was preparation,
Mm.
and preparation created a dynamic so that when the unexpected happened, you were still supported. And that's what I heard. And then I heard preparation later in terms of all the spiritual preparation you had done so that you
Yeah.
could go through that experience. And like that's all I was hearing. Without your own kind of self
Yeah.
about it. And so just know, like, for me, that was my first blush of this. Like, wow, that's the way I want to make sure I'm doing it, so that
Mm.
I'm so thank you. Isn't that fun?
Of course. Yeah. Well,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's such a beautiful time. And I would say, even amidst all the preparation, you're never going to be prepared for what you think is going to be the experience because the experience is going to arrive and it is going to shift moment to moment. And so I think almost the preparation is allow yourself to unfold in that resilience of like, maybe it's okay that I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost like the best preparation is doing your best and accepting
Yeah.
that. I'm just rephrasing in a different, like, same. I think I'm saying the same thing. The best preparation is doing your best and accepting that what is going to come is going to come. Um,
Um,
for me, mhm. It- for me, I'm like, I'm prepared. Like, I genuinely believe I'm prepared. I was speaking to a client, mom's friend type client, like a little category.
mm,
She's moving through the passing of her family, and it's been tough. And I really said to her, God only gives you things that you're prepared for.
yeah.
And I
Yeah.
truly and firmly believe that. And there's a part of me more and more as I've embraced my spiritual journey that believes that I'm prepared because everything that I need is in me. And if I'm moving through a moment that I can judge as like not being prepared, typically that moment isn't just happening for me.
Hmm.
There are other people receiving via my behavior. And so, in some ways, my lack of preparation is almost ordained.
Mm,
And I watch that happen. It's wild to say that, and some people be like, "That's just an excuse," but it's just the reality. How, how can you not be prepared for your own life? This is your life. Like this whole, we're going to move into professional, right? But so
yeah.
much of us have like adopted this very professional view of everything. And I'm using like professional in air quotes, but what we've defined as professional, like I should be prepared, like
Hmm.
your life, like your, who is judging, who gets to judge that in your own life? Does that make sense?
Yes. Well, and
Okay.
what popped into my head is my Sufi teacher. There's one quote that I love that I think of all the time, and um, it's all crazy. It's all over. It's all okay. Let's see what's next.
It's all crazy. It's all over. It's
It's
all okay.
there's more to it, and it just like flew out of my head, but that's the gist of it. It's
I love
like
that.
it's all crazy. It's all over. It's all okay. It's all over. Let's see what's next. And that's life really. Like we go through these surges of like the only place we can truly be prepared is in this moment, you know? It's like this moment is all that we have access to. And I know some people are like, no, I can tie. You know, it really is true though. But like when we're present in this moment, and we're not flying to the future or anchoring ourselves in the past, then we really have a moment where true growth is possible because it's a constant unfolding. And so I think of it, it's like as much as I love to plan and try to control and all of this, I,
Woo.
it's like I also love to just be like, okay.
Something really intense is coming in right now, and I'm trying to ground it. Okay. Okay. So Kevin is, my husband, just got back from Vipassana.
Mm,
And one of the he's in that very controlled atmosphere. He's coming home. And what I realized in talking to him, one of the things that so many people do is they're in this transformational experience, but they're about to go home and they start projecting into the future. And they're like,
mm-hmm,
take this with me, and I need to adjust things in this way. And really, they're avoiding their integration
mm,
because they want to avoid just actually being present, going into the thing and seeing what happens. They're planning. And what I said to him as we were having this beautiful discussion about just again releasing it, was that sometimes when we are preparing, we are, and not sometimes, but often, we are in the future. So we're planning in the future
mm-hmm.
and we're using the past as the metric to prepare.
Yes.
And I was like, if you are showing up in your future with everything from your past, how can you expect to shift a pattern from your
Mm,
past? You're using the past, hoping that this past will change. Like it's really kind of convoluted, but what I realized is that I'm like, it was coming, it was gone, it's coming back, is that it's that's this dynamic, like preparing, when we talk about being prepared,
Mm-hmm.
but we are using somebody else's life. Like so many of the things where we say, I'm preparing. Um, Mallory highlighted, how can you not be prepared for your own life, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're literally using someone else's life as a metric to prepare.
Yes.
Worse, it's someone else's life in the past. So it's like another layer of that where you're like, I'm going to use all these random people. Like I
Mm-hmm.
use this collective energy. We can say collective wisdom, fine. But unfortunately, it's not collective wisdom. It's collective energy. There's
Yes.
bits of wisdom, but there's also information, garbage, things like that. Some of it may apply to you, but none of it, like, but also none of it may apply to you.
Mm-hmm.
Taking that energy, I'm putting it into my present, and I'm using other people's pasts to determine my present, then hoping that I don't end up in the same pattern that they lived.
Yes.
Isn't that wild?
It's wild. And it's what strikes me is it's what we're taught to do. It's like that's the box that we're taught to get into. That's the map that we're taught to follow. It's like you look to the external and think, oh, that looks nice. I'm going to try that because I want that in my life. Oh, this even when we're internally referencing what we want for our external, it's somebody else's map. And so that's the thing is what if you really did live in, I always say every breath is a chance to begin again.
Yeah, and you're rocking my world right now because what's happening for me personally is I told you I'm preparing for motherhood.
Mhm.
And there was part of me that's like, okay, we're going to read all these books and all this stuff. And then as I'm hearing with you the 3 months, I was like, oh, well, I knew, but I didn't like know adept about the 3 months. And I was like, thank God, because if my body put me into that spiral, like you then had extra layers to
Mhm.
use to harm yourself with.
Mhm.
Should
Mhm.
be like you can't should on yourself.
Somebody else's map. Yeah.
Right. You haven't incorporated the whole map. And so there's part of me that was like, I'm going to see, because I think I'm getting interested in like doula midwife training because I do come from a line of midwives. But then
Mhm.
I was like, I come from a line of midwives. So there is a version of me now that's literally sitting with this and being like, I may just have like I may do a really minor bit, which is just what do I need to eat?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
what I need to prepare my physical vessel and let everything else flow,
Mhm.
because it's wild. Like when we think about this, like I truly believe you cannot have wisdom from another person's words. It's
Mhm.
only for your own true experience.
Yes.
But then you also have so much wisdom stored in your body. But
Mhm.
so often that doesn't emerge because, to your point, we're using someone else's map. Their
Yep.
map is not in the present, and their map is not in our body.
Exactly. And what takes me is like for me when I navigated that whole 3 months through first year, honestly 17 years of raising this being, the thing that I've learned to trust more and more is my own feelings, my own intuition, because now I have proof. You know, looking back, I always say, like, you can look for proof in your life when you trusted the thing that people said was crazy, but you knew in your body, in my feelings, that it was true and it was right. And like, I mean, just an example from those first 3 months, my son had food related colic. My doctor didn't tell me that. I knew it. I started reducing, I figured it all out because, not because I do have a lot of line ones in my design, and I was researching deeply, but really what I was researching deeply into was my own intuitive knowingness.
Yes.
I had all the answers within
Like,
me. And I always tell
that's
my
my
clients,
goal.
like, I'm here to help become your guide until you take back the reins and you, because you're here to be your ultimate guide. Like, I'm not here to be your guru. I was raised by a guru. I've been, I've known many gurus. I don't want to be your guru because you are your guru. We are each our own. We each know exactly what we need. And that's the deconditioning process, is like, it is releasing the idea that somebody else knows more about what's going on inside of us than we do. These relationships that we have are relationships where we ricochet off of each other. We reveal layers. We ask each other questions. We provoke each other. We have these moments of truth that boil up from us because we are responding, we are reacting, we are informing, we're having these relationships, and our truth is only known by us. And these moments, these interactions, the reason we're here in this human experience is so we can have those moments, so that we can get to those questions that have been living inside of us that maybe we didn't know were there until somebody asked us the question, and all of a sudden, whoosh, it's like that geyser of truth rises up within you and you know your answer. The other person on the other side of you doesn't know your answer. They don't have the answer for you. But when you hear that answer spill from their lips, you recognize that answer. So even if somebody else tells you, quote unquote, your truth, you're the only person that can recognize. And we've all felt it, that resonance in our body where we recognize the truth for ourselves, and it's your whole body lights up and you go, oh, that's my truth. It may have spilled out of Shabala's lips. It may have spilled out of my lips. It may have spilled out of your mother's lips. But when you recognize that truth, your body says, that's true. That's for me. And that's that. So, that would be my
I
geek
love
self.
it, Shadow. I'm like, yes.
That would be,
Okay. Oh, oh, man.
uncorked.
Woo, Jahjehan. Oh, Jahjehan. I had to recover from that one. Oh, I felt it. Woo, this
There you
is what
go.
it's like to recognize.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was kind
Oh, I
of
recognize that truth. Ooh, I need a bigger fan. Oh, beautiful. Thank you for that. And that is that. And so, next topic. No,
Yeah, next.
there's one
Thank you,
more thing
next.
I want to just add in there. And it's really not an add. I just want to point out one thing you said, which is using the tools, right? At the beginning of this, we talked about AI, this, that, to confirm your own, like to be like, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
now let me tune into myself first. And now
Yes.
let me poke around in here.
Mm-hmm.
And that I just feel like that little bit of guidance is like critical in our modern world. Everything you said was critical. And that tiny bit is just a little nugget that someone needed to hear today. And that I felt it was important to call out. So, with everything you said, damn, I just
That's why
like,
the channel flows.
just like, is it like the moment in a movie when Paul like whips out a cigarette? Just,
I'll just drink my
I,
water.
love,
That's all I
I
do.
love this. I'm like, let me find. Oh, I'm like, let me take some chamomile. Like, actually, Hawthorne berry.
There you go.
Okay. Nope, nope. I need a little bit of devil's cup. I got to ground.
I mean, that is my platform. It's like, if you,
That was wonderful.
yeah,
Thank you, Jahjehan.
you are welcome. I'm glad you could receive that because it wanted to flow through.
I have received. I have double received. I have double received. Um, yeah, we've come full circle to trusting your feelings. And also, I would like to squeeze a little more out, if with your permission, if
Yes,
you're still ready to give.
I'm ready to give.
So let's talk about work now.
Mm,
So many people, right, will be like, yeah, makes sense. Motherhood, trust your feelings. You're the mother, right?
mm-hmm.
And I think you said something critical, and it's what I've been saying to myself. The evidence is in our own lives.
Mm,
And if you are new to taking big risks, and if you haven't taken the leap, or if you've taken a couple of little leaps and now it's like big risk time. And I say that from my own life experience where I'm like, yeah, I worked with someone, but I remember the first time I bought like a $24,000 course.
mm-hmm.
That was one of my big risks. Or even we talked about Chayton Parkin.
Mm-hmm.
That experience was $26,000, his like mentorship experience. Plus, I think, yeah, and there's just like a $8,000 VIP day. Like, so it was all packaged. That was a leap. It was my
Mm-hmm.
second time taking a leap like that, but in that one, I literally was like, "We're going to follow my feels. We're gonna follow my sacral." I wasn't looking for human design. Like, I somehow stumbled onto his page, somehow stumbled onto a one-on-one with him, somehow had a one-on-one with him, and he said some things, and then he was, like, ready to go, and he's like, "When you sign up for this," because he could see what was possible, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "You're gonna wait, man. Like, it's gonna feel." But the whole thing was crazy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing. And it was also a business. It was tied into my work at that time because I was coaching. So it
Mm-hmm.
was for me like a business decision. And I had to sit with it and I'm like, can I really trust my intuition and feelings to make large scale financial decisions in business? And a lot of people will align to the feelings when we're talking about love, when we're talking about relationship, when we're talking about spiritual growth. They'll be like, okay, I can understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But when we talk about business and business success, that becomes tricky for people. And to bring this back, because we know we love a good Shibala channel that like takes it all the places. Um, when it comes back to like taking the lead, risk, trusting things, when you're new to that experience, you may not have evidence in your life.
Yeah.
But over time, what I've learned is I developed evidence so much so that I legitimately just trust in miracles and
Mm-hmm.
expect them. Like I like expect them, especially in business. And so you have evidence,
Mm-hmm.
and you go through your business journey. And so let's like go back to what you did before this. So like your previous business ventures and talk about some of that, what you did, and also how you let it go.
Mm-hmm. Well, the interesting thing is like my previous business was related to motherhood.
Mhm.
And I had always known that becoming a mother would kick me into my business journey. Um, but I didn't know how. I didn't like have a business plan for it. And when my son, when I was preparing for, in those pre-birth, like blissful, like setting up the nursery, doing all the perfect, da da da, da like getting the nesting, I made this mobile for my son because I was an artist. I was, at the time, I was actually a professor at a local university. I was teaching drawing. I had been a gallery director.
You're still an artist.
I'm still an artist. Well, yes, I'm still an artist. Art has been
In
in my
her
life
art
since I was
studio.
four. I was
Because
like, the two things that I've always been has been a spiritual seeker and an artist. Like I came out of the womb, into a Sufi community. I picked up a pencil, like, Yeah, anyway, I've
So
always
you
been
had
an
like a
artist.
curated professional identity that other people would recognize in the
Yes, I have a bachelor's, I
artist.
have a master's. Like I taught at university. I was a gallery director. I
Okay,
was
pause for a
this.
second. We're running through this too fast. Let's talk. Let's take a back. Let's pull it back for a second.
Yeah.
Jahjehan, tell us about your art journey
Okay. My
and
art.
your professional certification blah, 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 version of your art journey, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't talk about that. Like
Yeah.
there's one I met once and he's like, you don't tell people you went to MIT. And I'm
Right.
like,
I
no.
know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll start. Hi, I'm Shivala, Queen of Lions. I have an MBA from MIT. I spent a decade in corporate. I worked for major companies like marketing behemoths, Macy's, Procter& and Gamble, Universal. So like that, we're doing that,
Mm-hmm.
but slower.
Okay.
Tell us all the things, please. Please, Shahjahan.
Hi, I'm Jahjehan. I grew
Hey,
up making art at my kitchen table. I took art classes. Being an artist was my identity from day one, basically.
wow.
I went to University Arts. I got a full scholarship. I paid nothing.
Whoa, pause.
Hmm.
So you applied specifically to school to be an artist.
Oh yeah, I went to art school. I thought I was going to be a lawyer up until I was 16
So what age
because
did
that
you
was
know?
practical and I
Okay.
like to argue. Actually, I don't like to argue. I like to see both sides of a situation and find a middle ground. So
Yeah,
I
'cause
actually like to
your whole chart
mediate.
is about mediating. But wait, so
Yeah, I
like,
like to mediate. I don't like to argue.
but wait,
Um,
you're just good at arguing. But wait. Pause. Back. So you were you were painting since you were a kid, but then you told
mhm,
yourself you were going to be a lawyer. So at what
mhm.
age were you like, no, I'm actually going to go to school for art?
When I was 16, because I was like in advanced art, and my teacher said there's this thing called Governor School for the Arts. It's a fully funded summer where you go to college for art at a university, and you have to apply. It's really rigorous. We've never had someone from our school get into it, but I think you can do it. And
Wow.
yeah, good old Miss Jewett. Thank you, Mrs. Jewett, for the
Thank you,
nod.
Miss Stewart.
And so I applied and I got in. And I went for that summer, I went to university. And for 6 weeks, I lived, breathed, and created art. And I came out of that and I realized I can't go to be a lawyer. I want to be an artist. And so I, still being practical, applied to universities. Like applied to Carnegie Mellon and places like that that were art. They had a great art department, and like I could still be a lawyer if I wanted to. But I also applied to places like University Arts, Pratt, RISD, and that were completely art schools where it was like, I'm going to be an artist and that's it. And I got into every school that I applied to. And then the University Arts, which is in Philadelphia, gave me a full presidential scholarship.
Oh.
And so that I got paid to go to art school. Yes. And I went there.
We get this one got, hundreds of thousands of dollars alone. So I'm just gonna clap for you getting paid. I had the option. I had the option of getting I'd gotten a scholarship to Howard and a couple
Mm,
places like University of Florida that would like pay me,
yeah.
but I chose to go to Wellesley and MIT and instead pay them hundreds of thousands. But man, sometimes I think about what my life would be like if I had no debt, because I would have
Mm,
made completely different choices. So okay, so yeah, so you got paid to go to
I got,
art school,
I
and then
did.
you graduate, and
And I
wait,
met my husband there. So obviously I was
you
supposed to
got
be there.
paid to go to art school and met your boo,
Mm-hmm.
who is also an
Um,
artist.
who is also an artist. And so I went through those 4 years. I came out and
So wait, pause for a second. Let's talk about trusting your feelings, right? Because you
mhm.
had a very practical possibility for vocation. And it wasn't only practical, it was something you were naturally good at. and that we
Yeah.
know we can like we know that's true. And then also we can literally look like you're designed for it. So like
Yes.
you had this option of doing this thing that is very much in alignment with your skills. You're like, sometimes people will be like, you're guy and stuff like, and when you do those kind of logical assessments, though there is a deeper guy that emerges through you, which I think is what we got to. But when you do it the
Mm-hmm.
way Americans want to do it, a lot of people would logic out and say, you should be a lawyer. But you
Mm-hmm.
didn't do any of that. Instead, trusted your teacher, then your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And we found ourselves here. So, okay. So now we graduate with a hubby in tow.
Yes.
And then,
Yes. And then I kept taking leaps. I didn't realize I applied for residency. I got that. I applied for jobs that I didn't think I could get. I would get them.
Mhm.
And my husband decided he wanted to go back to graduate school and for art, and we ended up in Houston at University of
No.
Houston.
Did you go to graduate school together?
No, he went to
Okay.
University of Houston and got fully paid to be there
Did you go you went at the
because
same time?
we were married. I moved down there with him,
Huh.
and I went down there trusting that I was going down there as the wife, and I was like, I'll find something to do down there. And I got a job at the Houston Center for Contemporary Craft, and I started as like their Girl Friday. And then they realized that I had an art degree and then I had a brain, and then I ended up running their gallery by the time I was done. And then leaving that to become an art consultant, where I love that. I would educate lawyers and businessmen on what sort of art they should be collecting,
Oh
and
my
would
God. Can we
bring.
pause? Can we pause
Yes.
for a second? I want to, because with me and all my bougie school background, I
Uh-huh.
remember I went to an event. I think it was like a Wellesley Club funded event, and I met this woman. She's amazing, and uh, her name's Lady. I don't have to say her last name, but
Mm.
that was her whole job, and she would like
Mm.
advise people. And then she's there, and she's talking about the art, and I'm just like sitting here laughing and being like, oh my god, oh my god. And I had this other friend. I'm very excited right now, but I had this other friend named Meg, and she again was both of them were Asian queens, and they
Mm.
would be with very, very rich people from Asia, high net worth
Mm.
individuals, and basically be like, buy this, buy that, buy this, buy that. And it was so funny because I explored this world because I was like, they are just basically assessing art. And perhaps it's because I have 1.6, so that highest level of artistic.
Mm.
But I always had this little fantasy of being like, I'm gonna just run around the world telling rich people what to buy. And like I actually watched her do it and be like,
Mm-hmm.
this person has no clue. And they're like, and this other person's next to them, they're like, and you feel this, and the energy is this. And you have this like business person being like, so you think it's gonna get big later? Okay, cool. But like it was, and then it was wild. And that was such
Mm-hmm.
a cool kind of career
It was
option.
really, I actually loved it.
It was so
Yeah,
cool. And
I
like
loved
I
it.
love the it was so cool. Okay.
Well,
So
I
yeah, you
loved
did that.
it, and I was really good at it.
Mhm.
And right as I was entering my Saturn return, the first one, I didn't know this at the time because I didn't know, human design. I decided it was time to leap again,
Mhm.
and I went back to graduate school. And I also decided it wasn't time just to leap. It was time to. I applied to a few different graduate schools, and that lovely gate of crisis. Oh my gosh, hilarious! I applied to one graduate school that was my top choice, Hunter University in New York, and they let me in as an undergraduate. And I
Huh?
didn't find out this until yes, they accepted me as an undergraduate because they had miscalculated my credits and didn't realize that I was. So by the time they realized
Talk
this,
about
all the
gate of
graduate
crisis.
spots were gone. Yeah.
Talk about state of crisis moment. But yes,
Talk about
go.
gate of crisis. I was crushed. And then Tyler University, which is Temple Tyler, it's one of like the top 10 art schools in the country, um, came at me and they said, we want to let you in. We're really impressed by you. And we want to have you spend your first year in Rome. Because they had a Rome program, which I knew about, but I was like, I don't think I wanted to live in New York City for 2 years. I didn't want to live in, and then I was like, wait a minute.
Okay,
I
Jahjehan.
went to Rome when I was 17 and I loved it. Why do I not want to live in Rome for a year? And so isn't it interesting, because during that time I was so frustrated because my idea of what I thought I wanted, which was Hunter University, fell through because of this weird crisis. And this doorway that I opened up that I didn't know I even wanted, which was to spend my first year at a graduate school for painting in Rome with a studio that overlooked the Tiber River in an old palazzo. I mean,
Oh yes, when I was in Italy, remember? I
yes,
said you were literally like, "That's the street I used to live on."
yes.
Remember?
I used to live on Via dei Serpenti like for a year with my dog and my husband. You could see the
Yes.
so all of that happened, and during that I was navigating all that, and my prayer was, this is how I pray, Shabala, was, I don't know what choice to make. I'm really like, make it abundantly clear, close down all the paths except for the one I'm supposed to be on.
Ooh, have you been using that choice for literally while we've been collaborating? I like
Always.
that prayer. Good.
That's my prayer. That's my prayer. And it's in my body. It's not, it's like,
Okay. Okay. Say it again. Say it again. I'm gonna receive it.
yeah.
Please say it again.
I don't know what the basically it's, I don't know what choice to make. Close down all the paths that aren't for me and open up the one path that I'm supposed to follow and make it abundantly clear.
Close down all the paths for me and open up the one path I'm supposed to follow and make it abundantly.
Abundantly clear.
It's so wild because it's basically like remove my mind completely from
Remove my mind. Yeah, just literally make it abundantly clear, and it always is abundantly clear because in my body it's like, oh,
it's
okay.
funny when I say that out loud, I literally see like this, like everything closing and this path with like a
Mm-hmm.
nice light on it. I'm like, oh, it's so intense. Oh,
Yeah, it is intense and it requires like complete surrender, because otherwise it doesn't work. If you hold on to any control, like need to control, it doesn't work out. You really, it's surrender.
surrender. I love it. And so, okay, so now you go through your journey. We're in Italy,
Mm-hmm. I lived in
and
Italy for the year, then came back to Philadelphia, completed the last year of my grad school. And then as I was walking across, this is how life happens to me, Shamela. As I was walking across my platform to graduate, the director of the art school shakes my hand and says, I think I have a teaching position for you. Talk to me after you get your diploma.
like literally while
Literally
you're
shaking my hand and leaning in and saying, I've got a position for you.
ah,
And so then I taught for 2 years at my university that I had, just Tyler, and worked, a few other positions because, an adjunct professor in the arts does not make bank. I grew my gallery career. I had a gallery I was showing at in Houston. I had a show up in New York. I was doing the gallery artist life. And I knew I wanted to be pregnant, and we found our first house, Joe and I, that's when I got pregnant with my son. And my university still wanted me to teach, but my due date was literally like 2 days after the semester started. And my joke was, I don't want to, I don't want to come in and make it into a performance art class where I give birth in the middle of class. So I turned them down, trusting something else would come. And when my son was born, I had made him this mobile in my nesting phase, back to my nesting phase. And when he was born, everyone come over and be like, "Oh, the baby's so cute." And then they'd be like, "Where did you get that mobile?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I made it." I'd be like, and I started to think, maybe this is something. Because at the time, now we're used to nurseries being beautiful and artful and
That wasn't
fashionable, but
the
this
thing.
was 18 years ago.
Wow. I didn't even, because I've
Do the
seen,
math. Yeah. This is
I'm
18
looking because
years
I've
ago.
I've seen your like your baby Ives, like you
Hmm.
recently started transitioning your social media completely out of
Yeah, if
that.
you go to my Jahjehan social media, you can still scroll back and see what my company
I'm
was.
gonna put it up in a minute, but keep talking. So you,
Yeah.
yeah, because but when
Um,
you look at it, you have the context of modern, like beautiful things. So the thought process of this was 18 years ago.
this is
It's
when it was like cartoon mobiles with Winnie the Pooh and
I
flashing
don't even
lights.
think I don't even think Etsy was around at that time.
Etsy had just started
Just okay, see, like
because
that's
that's
all.
where I launched my shop was
Okay, because
after
I
I
was
got
like,
this
that's
idea.
you were one of the
I was one
OG
of the OG Etsy's. I was one
shop.
of the Etsy superstars. They used to like trot me out and bring me up to Etsy and all of that because I was one of the OGs who rose really quickly through Etsy because I created, as a manifestor does, something that hadn't existed before.
I
And
love that.
now we expect our nursery decor to be beautiful and artful. And the mobiles that I make, are they became actually it's funny, it's like one of my most iconic ones was a little puffy cloud with golden stars
I
underneath it.
look at it. Let me get it up here because
Yeah,
oh my God. But yes, keep talking.
but it became an iconic mobile, like to the point where I saw it in television shows and things like that. And I also saw like multitudes of, yeah, this was my, you know because
This
my whole thing was that was the little mini version I made.
Oh, this is the mini one. Okay. I know
This
it's
is the
funny. It
mini
literally
version.
says, look, closing time. This is your last chance to order.
Yep.
Back in the day. Yeah.
This was
Uh,
the and Yeah, and so all of these things, and the thing was, this all came through my motherhood journey of creating things that sometimes it was like, oh, I wish I had had this. But a
there we
lot of times it was, yeah, those are the little like
go.
clouds and all the things. And because my whole thing was that was my iconic thing. Crate and Barrel sold those ones,
Oh,
the star clouds, and Nordstrom as well.
there
There.
we
And
Wow.
so, but all that came through. I'm a mother and I want something beautiful. Put a bunch of flashing light cartoon crap in my kids' room. And that was my journey. And I built that company from nap times on Etsy, to a global brand by the end.
And so you built that, trusting your feelings,
Trusting my feelings.
took a risk on even Etsy because Etsy was brand new. This wasn't a
Hmm.
model that like people
No,
can talk
this was not, you could not take a course on how to start
about.
an Etsy shop.
But right, so you trusted your feelings, you started the Etsy shop, you were working with major suppliers, like you were
Hmm.
in the Nordstroms, you were in the Crate and Barrels, and all of that came through trust.
All of it came through trust, right up to
Did
when I
you have
trusted.
did you have
Hmm.
business experience?
I mean, I had run a commercial gallery back in the day, but when I went to art school, they did not teach business in art school.
Well, and did you have yeah, so that wasn't a thing,
No,
right?
I
So
didn't have. I
you
did
hadn't
not
had
have
you
Mark.
hadn't run a company that was
I
your
was
own.
not you. I was not you. I was figuring it out. I was a scrappy entrepreneur. My grandfather had been an entrepreneur. My
So it
dad
was
had owned his
so
own business.
So it was in, so you had maybe some
It's
keys of
ancestral.
wisdom. This was literally like, it was in your ancestry. It was in there.
Yes. Yeah.
But okay, so how much money did you make? And let's just go straight to the like the question that some people are going to ask.
I
When
mean,
you're at
over
your peak or
my peak,
whatever version of it, yeah.
I
How are
mean,
you?
I was making six figures
High
every,
six.
yeah.
And
So
that was you taking it home.
I had a team by then. When I was making the high six figures, that was not just me because I had overseas productions, which I didn't know how to do that. I figured that out. How to
Hmm.
work with manufacturers overseas, how to work with domestic manufacturers, how to work with running staff in my own studio, how to work with distribution, all of it. It was like, I feel like the little engine that could, it was like, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And I did.
And
And I
and you
did.
fed yourself and your family
And I
with
fed
this.
myself and my family, and I made motherhood my other priority. So I stayed home with my kids every day. My day, and you know this, ends at 3 so that I can be with my children. And that was my model is if I'm going to do this, I'm doing this my way. I am not giving I'm not working 9 to 5. I'm working 9 to 3. And if my kid is sick, I'm not working that day. And it was always, I'm building the life that I want, not the life that and it's interesting because I took on a business coach at one point who wanted to build me bigger, but she wanted to do it the way that other people did it. And I was like, this isn't for me. I can't do it this way.
Ah, I'm like, I'm looking up into that because I convinced somebody to teach me. I went on a whole set of detours around because I didn't trust myself. And
Mm,
I paid someone $48,000 to fill me with doubt, fear, etc. Then
yes.
had to like overcome that. Like it was a
Hmm.
whole journey.
I paid someone $20,000 to do that, to give me a whole architecture of building this
But
giant
you
company that
but
I
you
didn't want.
told them no.
I told them
I
no.
I did not tell them no. I attempted, and
Mm,
then tell them, "Here's how we need to fix this." So, but it was, and then it eventually ended up doing work in service of them. It's just wild. So, coming back to you trusted your feelings
yeah.
and avoided that detour.
I mean, let's
You
be
spent
honest.
money on it, but
I spent the money on it, and I will say, like, if I had really trusted my feelings, I would have trusted my feelings earlier, and it wouldn't have been 20,000. It would have been more like 10,000. But I've also been raised to be a polite woman who sometimes prioritizes other people's ideas because they're the expert instead of trusting my feelings.
expert. And again,
Yes.
how can someone be the expert on your life?
And they can't. And that's the thing. And that's the $10,000 lesson I got from that is I am always the expert of my own life. And when I trust my feelings, even when they don't make sense, life is pretty, like you said, miracles happen.
How much was that $10,000 lesson worth?
Oh, like, I don't know, infinite, like priceless.
Yeah.
You know, that MasterCard commercial, priceless.
It's priceless. That's such a good commercial. Ah, okay. So now we get to this post that I was looking at from 2023, where you say this is the last chance to order this. So you did
Close my
not.
company. And it seemed like to some people they were in shock because, so behind the scenes, for a couple years, had been feeling the energy go out of my business. And I had been feeling that I was done with it. But I
Mm.
had been listening, and here's where they get into trust the feelings. And sometimes you do listen to the other people. You listen to all the voices, the people who say, but you've built this amazing company. Why would you close it? Why would
Mm.
you let it go? Why would you? And so then I was like, well, maybe I should sell it. And people were like, yes, you should sell it. But it was so much me that I knew, even as I was saying that, I can't sell this. This is like literally like, here, I'll just split myself in two and sell myself, sell it. And so I went through actually 3 different people who almost purchased my company. And every time, like Gate of Crisis, some really crazy shit would happen And then the third time, I always say, like, third time's the charm, or third time is when you're like, I am going to trust my feelings. That third time, I won't get into it, but the people who were supposed to buy my business actually got scammed out of like thousands of dollars. And it was crazy. And it was and it broke my heart because I was like, this is it. The journey is over. I am going back to what I know, which is I am closing this business and closing it. It does not go on without me.
Mm.
And my energy, when I made that decision, when I informed the people, they were relieved. I was relieved. And it was like the energy came from, there was an energetic shift that happened almost immediately. As soon as I made that decision, as soon as I had that conversation, which that conversation was not easy. And I bet you, if anything, I look back, it would have been under a Cancer full moon. I know it was a full moon when we had that conversation, and I could almost guarantee that it's a Cancer full moon that this conversation happened because of how much I was going through. I felt like I had, like a manic depression. It's like, but as soon as I decided I'm releasing this, I'm following my feelings, be damned what everybody else tells me I'm supposed to do. I'm following what I know is my path. My energy went from, I feel so burdened, like somebody had just put the yoke and I was pulling the cart and all the weight was on my shoulders, to I had thrown off that yoke of everybody else's expectations and I could just run and dance and leap. And I was so happy. And if you watch those videos from those 3 months when I announced that I was closing my company, my energy shift is palpable because I'm just like, I'm closing my business. All things must go. It's amazing. And everyone's like, are you sure you're okay? And I'm like, it's so great. I love this. And the crazy thing is, like, you and I know, because we follow the astrological transits, this was 3 years ago.
Hmm.
We're coming out of a 3-year cycle. I was closing my business. It was literally astrologically aligned and I was feeling it all in my body. And that's what I always say is, like, when I look back, I joke, if I had looked at the astrological transits, I would have known in my head that I was supposed to be doing this, that this was the right path. But it's actually, I don't even need to know that stuff. I just need to know in my body and trust that. And when I feel into that, it's like, that is the guide. That's the compass. And it freed me up. It was the scariest thing I've ever done because I built this. It was my third child. I used to call my business my third child because I'd spent 15 years at that point raising it. Well, 14 at that point, but raising it, it was so much a part of me. I loved it, but I also knew it was time to set it free and set myself free because there was a new path calling me forward. And here's the crazy thing, Shabala. I thought I knew what that new path was. I had this idea, like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And
What did you think it was?
well, at the time I was teaching these like somatic art classes. I thought I was going
Ooh!
to become like an art teacher again, and I was going to just be doing all this art and these paintings, and maybe I was just going to become a full-time artist again.
1 second.
Yes.
It's funny because you're like, I thought I knew what I was doing, but that's not what I ended up doing. But then what you just talked about is what you're going to be doing
Yes.
very soon with me on a beach in Tulum.
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing. It's like I was doing it, and I thought that's what I was just going to launch into.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just going to be this easy launch. And what I didn't realize at the time was I hadn't learned everything that was part of it.
Yeah. So
You
it sounds
know?
like what I call these things previews, where
Mm-hmm.
you know a direction, but the path is not what you think it will be. And
Yes.
so it's there. And it's so funny because even when I close things, as you were talking, I'm like, you're so good at closing.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
I
We're
am. I'm almost like
laughing because we
forceful
know her
sometimes
chart,
at closing things.
and me, that's not true for me. Obviously, like
You're good at
I'm
starting things.
good at starting things. And for me, what I've noticed though is the thread of continuation.
Mm-hmm.
knowing that really I put things down and then I will pick them back up later in a different way or a different form, or they'll come to fruition, because I really see this as like this holistic picture that you're building. And sometimes even when something gets recreated, it doesn't even look like it did before, but it's the same thing. My husband Kevin, when I married Kevin, my name was Melissa, not
Mm-hmm.
Shiba. I was doing business coaching, not what I do now. Like it it was, but he literally is like, I have watched you, and over this last 13 years, it's all been the same.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always wild talking to him, because he's the person who goes to Paris and is like, this looks like New York. And he sees like, and you're like, Paris and New York, not. And he's like, but then you're like, oh crap, I know what he's talking about. And so he's
Mm-hmm.
very good at seeing where things are the same.
Yeah.
Um, I'm like all in the nuance of like everything is different. But what I learned over time is that I have previews, and that the quote unquote healing, the closing of patterns, the closing of cycles doesn't mean that things don't come back.
Mm-hmm.
But it means that when they come back, I'm getting them from a completely different lens, angle, nuance, like depth.
Mm-hmm.
And when there were things that are really yummy that felt like they were resonant, but then they disappear, they tend to come back in different ways and or in collaboration with others. And so yeah, like it's interesting, because I'm hearing you talk and I'm like, what do you mean? Wait, but okay. You thought you were going to do that. Where'd you end up, and how did we get to the Jahjehan of today?
Yes.
Artist, transformational guide, event, host, uh,
All
all
the
the
things.
goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny, I was also doing business coaching for artists.
Okay.
And so it was like, because I was like, I built this, I have this incredible career, starting from running a gallery to doing art consulting. Like I've worn many, many hats in the arts.
Hmm.
And so I was like, oh, I'll do business coaching for artists. And I had this whole course that I was going to launch where I was going to teach, and none of it was always the energy. And I was like, this energy doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like it following the feelings. And so what happened was I shut down my company. And as I was shutting down my company, I have two kids. I have my son, who's my oldest, who's about to turn 17, and I have my daughter, who's my youngest, who is about to turn 14. And when my daughter was 11, she started going through some really challenging transitions in her life. And I realized as I was closing down my company that I thought I was going to have this like launch into business,
This
Shaji 2,
space for
this
business.
space. Yeah, because I'd made this big leap and I was like, I'm ready to leap right into the next, like all the things and get really big. But it was my home and my family and my
Ooh,
daughter specifically.
we need to take a moment for that. I'm feeling things. Oh, I'm feeling things. And what I'm going to say is, so often we think like the universe is guiding us to make and create the space that is critical in our lives. And this space is for things we have yet to vision or yet to see coming. And
Exactly.
when we trust the feels in us, when we trust the guidance in us, and we create the space, it leaves room for um, for the lesson. And I don't
Yeah.
mean lesson in kind of like a chastising way. I mean for the initiation.
Mm-hmm.
For me, what I was feeling was, me working and thinking I'm gonna launch Woofulness and this company that I've been working on for the last 3 years, and then my cat getting cancer, and
Mm-hmm.
then my mom and my cat getting cancer, and that helping me teach and ground my herbalism work because I treated him, and then my mom collapsing, and
Mm-hmm.
then teaching me supporting mom through again the things that I honed with the cat to create herbal medicines with her, and then me getting into an accident, and me on my own healing journey and using my spiritual gifts to essentially like pause my pain, right? Like there's so many things that got to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get to now have Jahjehan in my life, and what I'm seeing, and we'll talk about, is how both of us are launching the things that we thought we were going to launch. And I don't know if you're fully seeing it yet, but I was laughing because I'm like, let me just say it now. When we do these transformational events that are coming up in February in Tulum,
Mm-hmm.
you will be doing the artwork from a somatic standpoint, but then you're
Mm-hmm.
also going to be supporting artists and coaching artists because, typically I'm working with creative entrepreneurs. So you being there at that event like turns you into, and yes, it's not the same type of coaching, but you're giving guidance.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just laughing because I'm like, both of us have been through journeys of caregiving
Mm-hmm.
that started off as us believing we were following our intuition to take space to then build the next most powerful version.
Yeah.
And those journeys come full circle to then us meeting and having the true skills,
Mm-hmm.
the depth and the wisdom, not just like the original like enlightenment or clarity or the education even or the information, but really the wisdom to be able to now fully stand in that position.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the miracle of these moments. And so let's get back to your daughter.
Yeah. Well, so as you said,
With this company,
yeah,
we take that leap thinking we're going to get somewhere else, and then
thinking we're about to build a whole nother company, a whole nother life, I mean, I had all these, I had, I had course outlines, I had clients, I
just
had
prepare.
a website,
Oh, I know.
all the
Let me tell you,
things.
I would be like, Jahan, we should do this for a minute. She's like, oh, I have a course. Let me send it to you. Oh, I did that. I did this course on X. Like, let me send you that. And I was just
Yeah.
laughing. I was like, what do
It's like,
you mean?
let me pull that one out of my
Look
pocket.
at me.
Like,
I'm like, oh, Jahan, I got a chapter 2 of my business course is this. Let me send it to you, right? Like
yeah.
we're pulling things out of the archives, right?
Yeah. Oh, I got a course for that. Well, and at the same time, this was, you know, this was when the world had already thrown us all a curveball because this is post 2020. And that was also like, there was the starts of this journey that was already happening while I was navigating I don't want my company anymore. This doesn't feel aligned anymore. And my daughter had been diagnosed with dyslexia as the world shut down, as a kid who's now expected to move online and can't read and and I'm expected to be her, teacher. A lot of us parents were navigating this like, wait a minute, I didn't sign up for this job. And, and then by now I'm shutting down my company and my daughter is back in school, but in a totally different world. And this is a kid who is also highly empathetic, like highly intuitive. This is a really gifted child in terms of feeling into energies around them. And she was essentially shutting down. And I saw it, but I didn't realize it. And when I shut my company down, she literally almost shut her life down. And I was all of a sudden, instead of being like, I'm going to build this company, I'm going to do this stuff, I was like, I have opened up this space to come back in and essentially be the mother that this child needs me to be right now.
And when
And
she shut her life down, can you tell us a little bit more?
well, I mean, I closed my company and Elodie shut down in school. She stopped talking in school. She was back in school in person, and her anxiety had gotten to such a point that she literally did not talk in school. She would wear a hoodie and be fully covered. She wanted to be invisible. She couldn't speak. She was actually experiencing a phenomenon, I forget what it's called now, but basically where she like could not speak because her anxiety would silence her. And it had reached a crisis point, and we were worried about this child because this beautiful, vibrant little child had become completely um, self-enclosed. And at home, she would still speak to me, but it was like a very different person. And it had been slow. It's not like one day, and it had been this slow withdrawal from life and this cocooning and this shutting off of this light. And I think
And
it
so
wasn't shutting off so much as she was literally just
closing it in. And
closing it in.
um it's so interesting that you choosing to follow your feelings
Hmm.
ultimately gave you the space to be present for that. Because what I'm hearing,
Yes.
and I'm also hearing like, thank God, like you were there,
Yeah.
notice. Thank God you'd already with your company, I think, made certain choices around your schedule, etc. So you
Hmm.
didn't know how your kid was before. I know it sounds wild to say that, but I'm just thinking of it in like the context of my own life. Kevin is always complimenting me for like noticing things about the cats.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's parts of cat behavior that he does not know because he literally is not in the room with them.
Yes. Yeah,
And
yeah.
people are naturally in tune. Like my chief of staff, Mallory, like she was like, "Huh, Leo did this today. I haven't seen him do this before. Is he
Oh,
sick?" And some
yes.
people don't have that, but even if you have that, if you're not present, it's not possible. And so I'm just like in awe of the fact that you first made certain choices, but then in trusting your feelings, you got to a place where you could have that space
Yeah.
to be
And it
that.
was and it was really and at the same time, so I had been introduced to human design a few years before, and I had been studying it. And during this time, um,
And what
I
is
was
your
kind of in.
design?
Hmm?
What's your daughter's profile or an incarnation cross? Just so we have a little bit.
She's the cross of planning, and she's a 4/6 emotional manifesting generator.
I love it. And
Yeah.
I'm saying I laugh at the cross of planning because there's just such a family aspect related
Hmm.
to that chart. And so I love that when we have children who have certain incarnations, then we get to also experience the
Yeah.
of that incarnation as well. And so, of course, she would ultimately thrust and keep you in a situation to balance
Hmm.
needs versus needs of the family and plan accordingly. And or she would be a deep reflection of where you're not doing that. You know,
Yes.
so it seems like you've been listening, following, and creating abundance through that.
Hmm.
But she has that potential to literally reflect where the planning is off for the family, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And it was interesting because I had closed my company thinking I was launching into building another company to support my family. It's not just because I was like, oh, I'm going to make it was always like to serve people and serve my family.
Mhm.
Um, and at the time, I'd been studying human design. And as everything started shutting down with Elodie, like when she was shutting down, I started looking at human design to understand her better because I already understood like that was also what helped me make the decisions for closing my company is I was starting to understand myself according to this map. I've been the kid who was born into seeking like how do I know myself better? Is there just a user's manual out there? How can I know my purpose? You know, uh, gosh, um, 6 years ago, I started studying with this like spiritual teacher, and the one and only question I ever asked him is, "How do I know my purpose?" And funnily enough, he told me to go on a Vipassana retreat, which I was like, okay, dude, like, busy mother looking for a different answer, but thank you. And that's not the
Like,
answer.
look, I'm not gonna go be silent for 10 days. It's
I
funny.
know. I was like, you're going to take care of my kids while I go be silent. Like, yeah, okay.
You're like, that does not align to my plan.
No, that does not align. And shortly after he gave me that answer, I stopped studying with him. And that's when I found human design. And I was like, this is the map I was looking for. This is the
I want to
answer.
throw something at here. So my husband just did a Vipassana Had a
Mm-hmm.
grand old time. Daniel, who's been on our event before, said that was a life-changing experience. Nothing
Mm.
against Vipassana with that statement, though I do have my own little personal gripes with them about the level of control that they want in their experience,
Mm.
and the blocking people from it because of
Mm.
that's my personal thing. But I do want to just make a note that I have seen that be a masterful experience for some of my clients in big ways, and certainly mothers who desperately needed that 10 days away to
Mm-hmm.
reset. So just to say, we're talking about Joshy's personal experience, personal story, and not as a knock. And sometimes as a mom, taking that space and taking the 10 days away is
Yeah.
exactly what you need. And as a mom, releasing the guilt and allowing yourself to take care of yourself
Mm-hmm.
is literally the entire journey. Like, so for so many people, like, I'm laughing that he said that because I could see how he could also be right. So even though it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't the right
Mm-hmm.
choice for you, I could see how you separating fully from the energy of your family, sitting in silence for 10 full days with an intention of purpose would probably give you clarity to Jahjehan's purpose.
You want to hear something funny? Is
Yeah.
okay, so I didn't do that, but you know what I did do
What?
was I received an invitation to go on a yoga and surf retreat as a leader. It was my first retreat I ever did. And I left my children for a week. I learned how to surf in Costa Rica. I spent a week with these amazing women who are all women entrepreneurs. And that was the retreat. That was what the answer was.
That was the Vipassana.
That was the Vipassana for me. And that was also the beginning of me realizing how transformational that time and space as a mother was, to give myself to disconnect, because I did not talk to my family while I was there. So, in a sense, I did receive that, but in the way that I now facilitate for others.
And now you literally lead those
Now
experiences.
I literally lead those experiences because I realize how impactful they are, because we do. And that's true. Like, he was right in terms of it is transformational. Give yourself that time and space. It was just the container he suggested was not necessarily my container.
And what I would say is sometimes when you're receiving channel, it's
Mm-hmm.
so important because the vessel is going to translate the channel in the with the limitations of the human that is present. So basically,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give Jahjehan advice from my channel, but I've got to translate.
Yes.
And so for me, if all I know is like a 10-day Vipassana experience and I'm seeing silence or retreat, I might just say that.
Yes.
And that's why I'm so careful when I deliver guidance that comes through, because unless you have someone who has the trust in their intuition or a system that really works for them or the mental fortitude to be like, I don't trust that. Goodbye. Like, it's not that,
Yes.
it's not, or it's not quite right. So
You
that
know,
you don't have that, then you are going to be fine because it's your
yeah.
life. You'll just take some detours, and that's okay too.
Well, what's funny is now, knowing human design, I realized like my body instantly got angry.
Yes. And so you had to,
Instantly.
and I heard it because you were like, nah, fuck you. I'm off.
Yeah,
Like, you
I
didn't
was
say fuck
literally,
you,
it
but
was
that was
like,
the
and it's
vibe. It
funny
was
because
like,
that session is recorded, and a friend of mine watched it before she knew me, and she was like, "You," I remember, because she felt the same anger in her body, and and it was interesting because I knew it wasn't the truth for me, and that's back to that trusting the feeling. It's like something like you said, offering what he offered was from his lens of experience. And what I offer people who choose into my world is from my lens of experience. And what I offer isn't for everyone, because only you know when I offer something to you whether it is like, let's see, what emotion it brings up in you.
Mhm.
Is that the emotion that feels like you should say yes to it, or is that the emotion that feels like, maybe this isn't my way?
And what's cool about human design is it gives us like what I like to think of as a temporary map, because I really believe
Yes.
we get to transcend it and do all those things, but it's a temporary starting point for
Yes.
how to even feel into
Ex-
emotions and express them. And so you were saying this came through at a time where your daughter had shut down,
mhm.
and it was your no, it came through earlier, but this was now you looking at it from a lens of how do I serve?
Yes. And I thought I was serving other people,
Mhm.
but at the time I realized this is the person that I'm serving is my daughter, because what happened was into my sphere, as all things do. I'm all, coincidences, there are no coincidences. I'm not even sure how this came into my sphere, honestly, but I heard about a course or a 5-day masterclass for parents using human design with Karen Curry Parker.
Mhm.
And I was like, that.
Karen Curry Parker, we were talking about Shatan Parkin, who I do
Mm-hmm.
training with. Jahjehan does deep training with Karen Curry Parker. Karen
Yes.
Curry Parker is like the second wave of OGs, is what I'll
Yes.
call
Yeah.
OGs.
Yeah.
And then you had a
Yeah.
second wave of OGs. So Karen Curry Parker is uh,
Yeah, she worked with
wave.
Raw at Human Design America, and then she's like, yeah, the second wave of OGs. She's like a
Yeah,
grandma in the not grand, not to, I mean, she is a grandmother.
great. No, yeah.
Yeah, and I
Shane's
didn't
like,
know
you're
who
calling
she
me a
was at
great
the
grandmother,
time.
grandfather. I'm like,
I
yeah,
know,
great,
right?
great, great. You're great.
Oh
Ah,
my gosh.
okay.
So I trusted my feeling again. I went into this master class. It was hugely illuminating for me. And it was all using human design to understand parenting, children, relationships, and what I was navigating. Like, how can I support this being, this child of mine, the best? Like, how can I really help them come back to themselves? Because that's really what it was. And at the end of it, of course, and she was truly transparent. And she's like, this is leading into my coaching program for parents. And at the end of it, I didn't have the money to invest in this, but I remember coming out and saying to my husband while crying, I have to take this.
I love the crying. Like I've done the crying thing, and
I know.
I'm sorry,
I don't
baby.
know why, but I
I
have to
don't
spend the six
spend this
thousand
money.
dollars to do this.
How
Like,
much was it?
it was, I think it was $6,000, or maybe it was like 4,000 for the early bird or something like that. But it was an investment that I did not have because I had literally just shut down all of my income. Um, but I knew 100% it was exactly what I was supposed to be doing. And so I took the leap. Thankfully, my partner is a very supportive partner, and he's like, we'll figure it out. Because also I wanted it to be, I already knew that it was part of like my business. And so I was taking the leap on my business account,
Mhm.
but my business account is tethered to our personal finances. And so I leaped into this training, and it was like, it awoke this hunger within me, because before I'd been studying human design, I've been reading books, I've been diving into for my own personal knowledge. But this awakened this like, it wasn't about me anymore.
Yeah.
It was about helping somebody else.
And it's so aligned with other elements of your chart, mediator. Like there are just so many elements where I'm like, I see how that lines up.
Yes.
Um, and so did you help your daughter?
Yes. And I helped myself, and I helped my husband, and I helped my son. And it was, but yeah, I mean, the child who 3 years ago, there was a lot of steps through that,
Yeah.
but we're almost getting back to the child. There's other factors that have entered into, not just the shutting down, but there's other factors, diet. We found her digestive system is like, unique. But also my intuition. The entire time I've been following my intuition. I've been following her, and I've been helping her tune into her own intuition and teaching her the tools how to read herself. And that's what human design did, is that course allowed me to start giving her back her power. because I think that's why she was shutting down. Actually, I know that's why she was shutting down, because everything was outside of her. And so she was building the shell around herself to protect herself. And when I started being able to say, like, you have the power and you get to choose it, and you get to choose to take down those layers as you're comfortable with it. It's like we began a journey where, we found a therapist, but she was part of that choice. Every step of this way, she has been an advocate for herself, because we aren't dictating, because I truly believe that when you dictate to somebody what they do, you take away their power. But when rather you offer them these choices that they get to choose in, you give them back their power and their sovereignty. And that's been the journey. And it's so beautiful to see this person blooming again, because that journey of stepping into understanding them more deeply so that I could give them back their power, because that's what human design did. Is I learned to read the map to allow her to see, this is why you are why you need that alone time to restore herself. She has the 3740 channel. She needs to restore herself so that she can come back out into community. And she has those projections of people thinking they've made agreements with her. There was a whole cascade. And then there's other things, like her environment is, there's so many aspects in there. It was like receiving the user's manual for my child. Like, I already intuited the user's manual, but now I had like a guidebook. And it was just to be able to have that guidebook to journey through motherhood with, parenthood, and to share it with my husband, because that's the thing. It's like I learned it, and then my husband was open, and he was also feeling the same way, like helpless. How do we help this child? And to be able to say to him, here are the things that they both have defined will centers. I was like, this is why you guys go head to head all the time. And here's what you can do about it. And that, and then they both have emotional authority. And I said, and my husband is a projector. My daughter's a manifesting generator. And he would ask her projector questions like, how do you feel? What are you thinking about this? And my daughter would just shut down. And I'd say, no, you got to offer her choices.
Ooh.
And so it was like getting the language to speak.
I'm feeling so much right now. You watch me. I'm like in tears,
because you're in your motherhood journey. You're coming into it.
It's also just I'm really the feeling that I have, it's a mix of awe, of gratitude, of reverence, of excitement. Like for me, this is like the true potential of human design.
Mm-hmm.
Like at depth, which is empowering people. And
yes.
When we do, I don't do children's readings. I've done some, and I do them specifically when I've done them for my close friends or my people who are like within my friend network. And I've done them in very specific instances when the moms are struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they really cannot see their child, or the system is trying to paint their child in a specific way.
Yes.
Or the child is struggling at school, or behavioral things are happening and the child's getting labels on label, then without the design. And then you don't need to wait till that point. That's just how it's come to be, because I'll work with the mom and the mom is talking to me about what she's going through. And then I'll say, let's look at your child's chart.
Yeah.
Or when the mom, I've also had a mom, like special needs moms, who do not see the gift in their child, because sometimes that can happen.
Yeah.
That's how it's really come. And it's interesting because like even within my family, like I'm also like Auntie Shibala, and like I haven't looked at those charts yet, or I've looked at those charts. Also, one of my besties, I've looked at his child's chart, but they haven't looked at it yet. because
Mm-hmm.
I've or I've suggested that they just wait until it's the right moment. They wait, they fully experience their child, they have their own views, their own perception, completely unconditioned by a system. And then
Mm-hmm.
when it's the right moment, then they know that that information is there for them. And that's my method. Other people benefit from having it right from the get. That's just how I've approached it. And so much of that was to get to the place that you're in, which is that this can be an empowering tool for
Yeah.
folks when they're moving through these complicated dynamics and when it's not working.
Yeah.
Because you can trust your feelings. And at some point in time, there could be dissonance, especially when you're working with others. Like it's very common. I can trust my feelings, but then you're
Mm-hmm.
trusting yours or you're trusting your guidance. And now we have to communicate and we have very different operating systems.
Yes.
So human design to me serves as this common language within partnerships that allows people with very different operating systems to function together beautifully. Um, and for me, what was getting me emotional is, I've been spending a lot of time thinking about moms and motherhood and models of moms. And my definition very quickly became, not very quickly, after 30 some years of my own experiences, motherhood journey, and just talking to mom after mom after mom after mom, that felt very quick of like, okay, there's no way to do this right, but there's
Mm-hmm.
a way to do this honest. So it became to be an honest mom
Mm-hmm.
at the core. And that is like the best mom is an honest mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if we say like, what would I really like beyond an honest mom? It's an empowering mom.
Mm-hmm.
And that maintaining that consistently, it seemed like I was like, it doesn't seem like it works. So that's where I got back to honest. But the way you are an empowering mom is to know the right time to give the child back their power
Mm.
and to know when it's time to say, okay, baby, this is your power, and let me give you guidance on tapping into it. Or, okay, baby, I see you're now tapping into it. You got this. It's very much the like how to let the child like leave the nest and then
Yeah.
stay in your role as an elder and to watch you actively take human design and use it as a process to do this is inspiring and feels truly like the most important work. It's the work we do with clients.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I said this morning, you're like, it's like you got 100 children sometimes, right? To watch you do that in your own family, it's so touching to me.
Mm.
Because to me, the interconnectedness of human design, like that's what the system truly is for. We spend a lot of time focusing on how to use it to make more money or to do this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But to me, when we can get back to our power in a truly deep way, when we've used the system to do that, it then empowers us to share that with the world.
Yes.
And
Yep.
that's what I see you doing in your family.
Mm.
And I love that your daughter was the catalyst for that because your daughter's entire being, um, like that's part of that vibration. And so then
Yes.
now she has the tool to then use that as she then goes establish her own family, whether that's what we're, traditional family or the community that she will lead in the future. Like
Yeah.
that is like, wow, like change the world level
Yeah.
stuff. And so that
Yeah.
was everything that was just coming through.
I love that. Well, and what comes to me is I always tell my kids, like, all I need is for you to keep me informed about who you are right now because that's going to keep changing through your life. And I want to know who you are from you because my idea of who you need to be is honestly not relevant. That's not your truth. And it's like, so I often say, like, tell me the story of you. And that's, and when you give somebody back the architecture of your story, because that's what I see the human design as. Like you talk about the medicine map. It's like, it's our medicine that lives within us. It's all the gifts, all the challenges that we know are within us. And when you become like awareness is such a gift. It's like, because awareness allows us to see ourselves clearly, so that instead of feeling guilty or feeling shameful about being one way or another, we actually just feel aware, because we know, with all of the things in human design, I always like, it's like a spectrum. There's like the challenges or the shadows or whatever you want to call them. But on the other side is the gifts. And it's the awareness that allows us to, because we operate, Ra used to say we're conditioned, like in our conditioned self, our not self. Like our not self will be over here peopling in the shadows and the challenges. But when we enter in with that light of awareness is what allows us to say, oh, I see myself, like, getting in it, getting in the shadowiness. And I know that it's really because over here, this is where I really want to be. And so it gives us back our sovereignty.
Yeah. And when you say, I'm here with you and I'm still on you as mom, but I'm still on the tell me who you are today. Like, because that
Yeah.
very much, like, tell me who you are today so that I can show up and serve, right?
Yes.
That I
Yeah.
can be,
Because I want
be
to love all of you.
so that I can love you. Like, so for me, that tell me who you are today so that I can love you. And it's people who believe in parts of the system. And I say that because, me, I'm always open to, like, I believe it today, but tomorrow I may be someone who doesn't believe it. Like, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But so far I'm pretty sold on parts and a lot of pieces of the system. And one of the things that we know are transits occur.
Mm-hmm.
Moment that the transit occurs, our energy gets shifted. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
different person as this transit changes. And then
Yes.
we've got another piece, other humans. I am a different person in union with you. And so that
Yes.
tell me who you are today is literally tell me who you are in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I can meet you if I can pay attention, if I can meet that with curiosity.
Yes.
I can really play with you in this moment and we can enjoy that journey of life together. And so, um, I really want to thank you. We're coming up on the end of our 3 hour special. And I want to thank Jahjehan for um, the depth of intimacy that you've been good with saying yes to live. For me, this moment is fulfilling a dream
Mm.
of just being able to, like, be out there and experience people and connect with them on a deep and intimate level and ask them the questions that people shy away from. And
Mm-hmm.
then also give a little dose of my medicine in the middle of it too. Like, being able to do that easily and be seen only happens when someone like you is willing to show up without shame, be seen, and hang out for the time that it takes.
Yeah.
And there have not been many people in my life up until this point. And I say that because I know that now that I'm in this place, they will all be here. But up until this point, I've needed to move through many different humans to get here. Um, and, as we know, and we'll find out for those of you who come and watch our next episode with Shah Jahan on her medicine map, we'll find out how her energy brings these things to a close. And so with the couple minutes that we have left, I wanted to bring in the leap, the trust, the thing we're trusting in this moment. You trusting your feelings, me trusting my gut. But our next big adventure, and one that we're taking together, and
Yes.
it is Tulum.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess I'll tell this story. Is that okay? Like,
Yeah.
so we are, so I have, let me start with this. I have been taking people on journeys to Tulum, Mexico, specifically since 2021. It started unintentionally, so a very guided trip, like a literally a we should go to Tulum. And I had never been to Tulum. So an intuition at a time that I didn't know what intuition was, based guidance for one of my clients. I was like, it's a spiritual place. You're a spiritual person. We should go. Back then, I was not a spiritual person. She was young. She's about 23. She made her first $10,000 week at that time. I was super excited. And she didn't really have a concept of spending money on herself.
Mm.
Like, you should spend money on yourself. And I had been diving back then with my husband in Playa del Rey, and I knew Tulum was like woo woo. And back then, woo woo was like, now I have a company called Woofulness. So how we like went to Tulum. And we'll find out more of the story later because I'm going to put myself on the other side of this and let Jahjehan and my chief of staff, Mallory, ask me a bunch of questions later today. Um, and so in like two podcast episodes from now, but that was like where my spiritual awakening got initiated in a sound healing session. And it was so magical. And universe has guided me to continuously take people back there, knowing that one day I would be doing a retreat. And we are now doing it, and we are doing it now, meaning
Y-
it is January 4th.
yes.
And in February, so in, let's look
February
at
13th is the
February,
first day.
right? We will be in Tulum. And so we're now talking about something that we are going to say yes to, and share with, let's see, 39 days notice. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We haven't, this is our first time presenting it. And I'm laughing because I need to log in here. And the reason I'm logging in is because the website isn't live yet. So talk about a leap.
Ah,
Talk
well,
about a leap.
and
And
trusting your feelings and trusting the leap. And like, this isn't for the person who needs to plan out their year in advance. This is the person who plans out their moment and knows in that moment when the invitation comes to them that they, even when it doesn't make sense up here, that it makes sense in here.
and I'll say it differently because this is also for the person who does plan out your year, like
Well,
me,
yes. Yeah.
and then changes every single plan. And so, like, some of us are planners, and
You can
it,
be a planner.
for me, it was like
Yeah.
this was for past me. So this was for the me who was planned. Everything was planned.
Hmm.
But then I felt this thing, I saw this thing, and my gut for the first time was like that. And I tried.
Hmm.
So this is certainly for the person who's ready to trust all forms, shades that you come in. I'm going to show y'all two things. So one is, I'm laughing because I'm trying to get to, oh, I understand now how to do this, to the window. And for those of you who are still listening, we're going to be talking about this experience, but I am sharing my screen. And as of January 6th, this will be live on prosperityartist.com. And on January 6th, when it's live, for those of you who choose to just trust your feeling, there will be a bonus. It will run through January 11th. So 111. And so definitely take advantage because there will be a way to make it a little bit more juicy to say yes right now. And so um, ProsperityArtist.com is my brand new platform launching in 2 days from now for transformational events and experiences. I have the gift of being graced with this beautiful art piece by Jahjehan on my website, uh, holding a butterfly of transformation. I'm just going to read this little bit and we'll tell you a bit about Tulum, and then we will let you on your way and hopefully get to talk to y'all soon. But your medicine is art, and the world is ready to receive it. If you know prosperity is in your hands, then welcome home. Prosperity for me is a completely self defined experience. As we have said time and again, this is your life. You get to live that life on your own terms. And this journey of spiritual awakening is bringing you back into the most empowered version of yourself. And we believe that this time is the right time. For many reasons, right? And I hope it's okay for me to speak to you with this one, Jajahan, but like for many reasons, we believe that right now
Yeah.
is a special time to wake up.
It's a really impactful, I mean, we chose, and it's specifically when we're there, there's all sorts of astrological reasons, including eclipse energy, because this is about this year. As we know, we just moved out of a 9 year into a 1 year. This is the reset year.
Mhm.
And this is the leap year. And this is the year that you really get to, like it says right there, rise into your power,
Mhm.
return home to your truth, find peace in this moment, love your full flow, and trust your unique medicine.
And I would like to say, as someone who planned the title for this, I did not plan this.
No.
Trust your unique medicine. This is the moment to trust. And so, what will we be doing? So, we have two experiences coming for you. The first is going to be called Partners in Prosperity. We are welcoming you to embrace your most honest love and really cultivate meaningful partnerships. We were just talking about this with Jajahan, how she has leveraged this system to change the dynamics within her family and
Mm-hmm.
to really um, create empowered unions that transcend both romantic relationships and her partnerships with her children.
Yeah.
This will, when I say aligned unions, it's every union.
Yeah.
We are going to be doing this during Valentine's Day. And so we are going to talk about love unions. I firmly believe that vibration courses through every union. And one of the fun little tidbits I'll give you, I have so many people who come to me and they're like, I want to grow my business. I want to do this. And when we dig in, when there is a gap in love or feeling loved or being able to receive love, it always becomes a hindrance to those other goals.
Mm-hmm.
And so often I'm working with someone on their prosperity and how they've defined it as success in business. But we end up having to loop back around to the love because their priority in that moment that oftentimes they don't want to admit to is I would like to find a partner. I'm not trying to do this alone.
Mm-hmm.
And so often I will find that, especially now, and I will speak for me, there's a version of me that was like, no, I'm trying to be all of me in my power, running my business, da da da. Man, great. And also not necessary.
Yes.
And yet, then you're like compromising your integrity in your business plans and your work because, wait, I'm in a relationship and I don't want to like disappoint that and I don't want to mess that up. But we haven't cleared that up and it becomes its own unconscious barrier. Right. And so this is where I say, like, if you're here and you're like, love is on my list for 2026, come through. The things that you will receive will support your love and will support your prosperity.
Mm.
Um, and then this is happening in 39 days, 23 hours, 5 minutes, and 40 seconds. The other retreat is a personal power retreat. Anything before I jump onto that? Anything else you want to say on this one, Joshi? I just want to give people a taste so they know that this is
Well, and I
them.
feel like, the thing to say, which you've said, is this is for people who are coming with a partner. And maybe
Mm.
you're coming with your partner. Maybe you're not coming with your partner.
Oh yes, I did not say that. So I believe, we will have some people in partnerships, and we will probably
Hmm.
have many people who are not in partnerships, and we
Hmm.
have some people who are in partnerships but come without their partner.
I mean, I'm coming without my partner. I'm in a 30-year partnership, and but that's been a
And I'm
conscious
coming with my
choice.
partner,
Yeah,
right?
because my partner's staying so that we have two children. It's a busy time for them. And it was a conscious choice that my partner and I chose so that I can be fully there, he will be fully here. And
Mhm.
what I learned there, because I'm not just teaching, but I'm also going to be, it's like we're always learning from each other. It's like the expansion that happens there is something that I will then bring home.
Yep. And for me, it's interesting. Kevin is going to come on this experience. So for those of you who
Hmm.
come able to meet Kevin, but he just did his 10-day Vipassana solo. And
Hmm.
we're both going to go. It's a solo experience, but we are still both going to go. And he ended up going. And that was so transformative in different ways because
Hmm.
the space of him not being in the home led to me appreciating him so much more and just seeing certain things. But it's also the first time in 14 years that we actually didn't talk and had that separation in like a bigger way. Because typically, even when we're traveling, we're communicating. And so, every version of your reality related to partnership is welcome at this retreat.
Hmm.
Um, and also, if you are in an active relationship, you'll really be able to look at that at depth. And if you're not in an active relationship, you'll be able to either look at past relationships or the values that you held at depth. And so, thank you. That was a very important call out. Partnership focus with partners, without partners, all welcome.
Hmm. Because really, partnership is about your individual knowingness of yourself at its foundation.
Mhm. Which is a beautiful segue into our personal power retreat, which is in 53 days. This one, I'm going to give y'all a little preview of the flow, and just to give y'all an idea of what we do in these types of experiences. And then after that little preview, as I said, it's launching January 6th, but this is an intimate experience. And so if you're like, I know I'm getting that feeling, I'm getting that gut response, hit us up and we will sign you up and get you into the villa with us right away. For me, you can find me at shibala.com. And then we also have Jahjehan as well. Which is jahjehives.com.
Yes, Jahjehan is my informal name. My full name is Jahjehan and
Jahjehan
Ives.
Ives. Okay. And I will, I did. So that is Jaji's website. And then I will throw up my website. So for those of you who are here, there's a little QR code on the website that you can click through. And again, like I said, everything will be live on prosperityartist.com on January 6th. And so we are changing the world one human at a time, starting at the root. I wanted to say something about this. We are in my opinion, a terrifying time. Um, I love balance.
Hmm.
And there's the other side of that, which is extremely hopeful for me, but it's both. I walk around as a Black woman in America feeling the bracing that I worked so hard to release coming back into my body. Um, I see what is happening in our relations internationally, and I am worried. I feel my rights being stripped away as a woman and future mother, and I'm literally concerned for my life as I think about how to bring my child into this world. And at the same time, I am very clear on the vision of what could be and the other side of that coin and the possibilities and a potential for us to move through all this pain so that we can finally learn lessons that have been transmitted through history and lost, partly, in my opinion, because we have lost the connection to
Mm,
this trust and to the depth of wisdom that exists in literally our DNA.
mhm,
And so for me, when you are able to connect with your power without having to go via someone else, even via a system, because we'll teach you the system, but there's a lot more going on at this event and at these events. So when you can do that, is when you can truly find the clarity that leads you not only to power, but to, in my opinion, love, which is the core that runs through it all. And when we can heal, when we can be in love, when we can, even if you don't go that far, when we can have like a standard of like openness, communication, and curiosity, we can really change the world. And this is the moment where the world is changing,
mhm.
period. And we get to decide the role we play. And I have been very clear and told what the role I play is. And thank God, Jahjehan is ready to play it with me at this experience.
I'm built for the leap.
So built for the leap. It's not funny. And so as we jump in, first image here is the Temescal. We are going to be doing this in Mexico. And the indigenous Native American shamans, medicine family are going to support us throughout this journey. And so you're not only going to get our medicine, but you are going to get medicine that has been passed down for generations from that specific area. And here, I just want to touch on human design plus ancestral healing. We've kind of toyed with human design throughout this. Um, we've focused on trust, which is the core of what we're doing, right? Trusting in your power. But we have not mentioned the fact that the deep work that I do is ancestral healing work. And the deep work that I believe, even though Jaji doesn't call it that, I believe that all of us who do this work is the clearing of the karma, the ancestry, whatever language you want to give that, the epigenetic layer stored in your DNA, right? Like
Mhm.
the working through that so that you can truly be present in the you that is now in this moment without the influence from all of those things. Um, Fair? Is that, yeah?
Yes.
So we are doing human design, we're doing the ancestral healing, but on the personal power retreat. So the partnership retreat is happening during Valentine's Day. The personal power retreat is happening during the eclipse. Also, the partnership retreat,
Is a
uh,
solar eclipse.
uh, there,
The partnership is if there's a solar eclipse during that.
and the
Personal power is the
this
full
power is
moon
the lunar eclipse.
lunar eclipse. The full blood moon lunar eclipse.
So we're working through eclipse season, period.
Yeah.
Okay.
You may come
And
join us for both eclipses.
yes, you can hang out for both eclipses. The partnership one also, we're moving through 55 abundance, but also 59 intimacy. So like they're
Mm-hmm.
basically everything is aligned from a energetic standpoint. And we have been working on this for 6 whole months and waiting for the timing, hence why this is coming through now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to play. So everything is both a mix of flow, but there is structure, planning, curation, years that have gone into this. And so we'll move through this presence, let go, align you framework. And the entire event is designed that way. I'm not going to go through all of it because, like I said, we're just going to give you a taste. And we've been here now. The taste is getting robust. But I do want to highlight a few things, and then I will close this yummy moment with you, Jahjehan. And thank you for all the presents that you have given us today. And so we are going to start with presents. This event is at Nestaloom. It's an absolutely gorgeous resort. It's a beachfront property. It is in the eco luxury style, so you really do feel like you're in nature. We're going to start off that day with a candle retreat and then with a cacao ceremony. If you've done cacao ceremonies, they're always special, but like this one for me with Ikali, um, it's just like different, especially when you're working with someone who's served this medicine and whose family serves this medicine. It takes it to another level for me. And I've just had massive awakening moments from cacao ceremonies in Tulum. um,
Mm.
Specifically with this individual. So we're going to be having that cacao ceremony. We're going to ask permission. We're going to ground into the space. That's where we're going to start. And as I'm going through this, I'm not going to go into depth about some of the work we're going to be doing. Um, and we will talk about that in future discussions. So if you have any questions, please ask. But I did want to highlight the ceremonies just because they're very different than I think some of the work that people will expect. Does that sound fair, Jajan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So on the 28th, blank canvas day, we're clearing everything. And we've been talking about mothers. There is a remothering sound and senses journey that we move through. Jajahan has not been through this one yet. It's quite fun. And it is something that was taught to me by my Apache Chichu. It's essential oils and sound and music. And I'm going to be leading that. I've been given permission to do it, to lead you through an experience of releasing masks and releasing conditioning. So, this is an energetic method of releasing conditioning from your mother so that you can really choose to be your own mother in this experience.
Mm.
We'll also be working with the ocean and do a beautiful ocean release ritual. We'll also be working the mind, exploring our emotional heirlooms, and this is where the art starts. Do you want to speak to the prosperity canvas just a bit?
Well, I mean, the prosperity canvas is going to evolve over the course of your days there, and it is going to be anchored into somatic artwork practices that are supporting this journey and incorporating what you're learning about yourself day by day through the unfolding. And so it really is going to, for each person, it's going to look different. And that's really what this is about. And it'll come from, I'm going to give you, you know, my way that I approach art making is it's an invitation to play and to tune into that deeper layer of intuition that lives within you with sumptuous art products that
Oh my gosh.
I lay out like the buffet and I give you the invitation to begin your play and a loose architecture. So if you're like a person who's like, I'm not an artist, Shaji, I can't do this, great. Because I don't want you to be making it perfect. I want you to be making it you.
And this one, the you, like that
Mm.
part, it is the you that's going to show up moment to moment to moment and
Yes.
get this beautiful. a picture, literally, of
Mm-hmm.
and see it evolving. So I'm very
Mm-hmm.
excited about that. We are going to align on this this specific one. So first event, Jahjehan and myself. You'll also meet my husband, less in a teaching capacity, more in a social capacity, but that'll bring in a really fun male perspective as well. And so on this one, though, we have Jahjehan, we have me, and then we have Mallory. Mallory's my chief of staff. She's a fucking powerhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Um, right angle cross of the unexpected, fully embodies it. She is all herself. To me, like a true embodiment of power, authenticity, and full fucking expression. And so I say that because she's going to be there supporting. There are going to be the opportunities to have listening and reflection sessions with her while there. But she is going to also be hosting our full expression dinner. So you're going to be learning about your medicine, your unique medicine. We'll do your medicine map. Jaji and I will teach you the parts of human design that we really feel are going to support you the most, like give you essentially the best bang for your buck, but then
Mm-hmm.
impact in your both your personal and interpersonal. And then we're going to have fun at this full expression dinner. Then is like the ancestral repatterning day. That's the deep, deep day. And so karma clearing, ancestral repatterning work. And then we calm that all down with a beautiful sound healing. This is the exact same sound healing at the exact same location that gave me my spiritual awakening. And I've taken people back there every time. And every time there has been something exceptionally special that is happening. That's going to be led by my shaman down there. And then you'll have a break and a little bit of space to process so that you can, for those who choose to, and every part of this agenda is optional. Every part of this agenda you get to lean into trust. But for those who choose to, you will then be able to move through a 2.5 hour Temescal experience and fully rebirth. That is happening on the eclipse for this one. And then after we've moved through all of that, we will graduate and anchor ourselves into the new you that is present. And we'll do a little bit of um, presence work to connect the dots with your purpose and where you go from there. We'll then have gratitude, thank the land for supporting us. We'll share in community, and then we'll all meet back together for 2 more integration sessions online. So that is our experience from a personal power standpoint. The partnership experience. One of the reasons I wanted to show this one, since we're showing one for the purposes of this, is that partnership starts with personal power
Mm-hmm.
and other elements that are laid on specifically for connection. And so, ooh, I ran us through the whole thing. I'm gonna let Jaji end for us on this experience. I'm putting you on the spot. Give us something from your channel, my love. But what I will say is if you're watching this, it means you hung out with us for 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It means that there is something in here that was for you. Please connect with us, whether it is for this event or something else, or even just to reflect. Please connect with us because there
Yeah.
is medicine that we get to share.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Shahjahan, anything else to add for this experience and anything you want to say to the audience?
The only thing that keeps coming to back to me is like, don't go into your head for this. This is
Mm.
about trusting that invitation that lives in your body, that what lights you up, I always like what lights you up is for you. What feels heavy is what you're putting on your shoulders.
Mm.
Shoulds live on your shoulders. And I'm so excited to take this journey. And as I said, Shabala and I, as she shared, has been talking about this for, I think, half a year now. We've been planning this.
Yep, for baby,
We've
it's
gone
another
through
baby. 9 months, my love. Literally,
9 months. Oh my gosh,
like
yes, nine
it's
months.
gonna be about
We
9
have
months.
created this baby. And during this time, we were joking about this, is like we've gone through our own journey of shedding and preparing and becoming essentially the vessels for what is awaiting you there. And to trust that you are feeling the energy pulling you there is all that you have to do, because we can show you the itinerary, we can show you the photos, we can show you the place. But if your energy is simply saying, this is for me, and I don't even know why this is for me, but I have to be there, to trust that is to do the most powerful thing you can right now. Because that trust will lead you into a direction, like Shabala said, she expects miracles now because she has trained herself to trust that when the leap presents itself, when the energy says, let's jump, you jump.
Ooh, thank you for that. And we'll wrap on that thought. If you are going to condition yourself,
Mm.
if you are going to train yourself for trust.
Mm.
Train yourself to trust the you that is keeping you alive and keeping you here and keeping you whole. Because that you has every single answer. And with that, we will wrap up this episode of Prosperity Artists. If you are here, I fucking love you. Thank you. Thank you, Jahjehan. I cannot wait
Thank
to your
you.
mindset map. I'm so grateful for you being here. And thank you for helping me welcome in 2026 and for your wisdom, for your
Mm.
guidance, and for everything that you have brought today and for the gift that you've given me on my future motherhood journey and in my life in this moment. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Mm.